survive. Attack, 67. And he's a worst bird. The flash given the Bowsers. Cause he would become champion of 67. And he's a worst bird. The flash given the Bowsers. Cause he would become champions. Celtic way, wait for the ball from side to side, and then tell me, try to hide, the way for the ball from front to back, attack, 67, and then he's a burst man, the first in the back.
Hello and welcome to episode 113 of Celtic Rumours TV, the Bawz and Bovril podcast with your host Mark and myself Paul. You can check out all the links to the podcast in our description below, including our forum page, which is www.celticrumours.co.uk, where all Celtic supporters discuss all things Celtic. On tonight's show, we look back at yesterday's Scottish Cup 4th round victory over Greenock Morton. We look ahead to Sunday the 29th away fixture to Dundee Utd, and we will finish up the show with some transfer rumours and roundup. And of course, if there's anything you guys in the chat wish to discuss, please let us know. Or if you wish to come on, please hit the link in the live chat. Firstly though, I'll hand off to Mark just for a few shout-outs.
Thanks very much, Paul. A few quick shout-outs to the lads off the forum. A Glasgow Green, Tim Alloy, Richie. I've not heard from Richie for a while. I need to drop him an email and see how he's getting on, man. And just all the rest that I usually shout out, Paul. They know who they are, all the guys. We appreciate everything that they do on the forum, keeping it going and that. Evening, Alec, big jabber again. Evening, Bud. Brian, nice to see you again as well, mate. As Paul said, everything, the link to our forum, our Discord, the video game Discord, everything, it's on the link to you in the description box below, and every Celtic fan's made welcome wherever they end up, but meeting up is kind of thing.
So, goals from Aaron Moy 2, Kyogo 2, another stunner from David Tomball secured Celtic's passage to the 5th round of the Scottish Cup, which we now know we will face St Mirren at home, and started with Hart, Johnson, Starfelt, Kobayashi, Barnaby, McGregor, Moy, Tomball, Abada, Kyogo, Maeda, the subs, Ivanovic, Yota, Iwata, Bain, O'Reilly, Hiasa, Forrest, Lawal and Walsh. The stats for the game were shots Celtic 31 to Greenock's 4, shots on target 11 to Greenock's 1, 81% to their 19. Fouls 10 to their 8 and corners 11 to their 3. People are saying, Mark, don't get overexcited about this result. But as we said on Tuesday, it was all about Ange putting out a strong team, getting the confidence in the team after the win last week as well, and getting a few goals behind some players.
I'm happy enough with yesterday's performance. I mean, you can only play who's in front of you, Paul. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I thought whatever they done was just. I mean, I don't think there was ever going to be any doubt about the result, but and I think as well that Celtic, if they needed to, that wasn't Celtic at full flow. There was another gear in Celtic, maybe even another 2 gears that Celtic could have stepped up there yesterday. So overall, I mean, as I said, Paul, it helps keep the momentum going. It helps build the confidence to getting the team scoring a few goals regardless of the opposition. So everybody's always looking for stuff to moan about.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm quite happy with that.
What about former Celtic player Ife Ambrose kind of had a horrible return to the Celtic pack in the 18 minutes when he was alleged to have handed the ball when he was falling backwards. Kevin Clancy and Steve Napier in the VAR deemed this potential handball, Mark, but Let's call it out, Mark. It wasn't like, you know.
No, definitely wasn't
It was harsh, you know.
Aye.
You know.
It's like when we spoke about the Kilmarnock a penalty appeal the other week, right? I mean, I've seen them given. I think it probably was a penalty. If it was against us, I'd be screaming for it. So it's the same setup yesterday. If we'd lost a penalty to that, Paul would be raging about it. So let's call it as you say. Whether it goes where you're at Disney, we've got to call it when these crazy decisions are getting caught.
But what is it, Mark? Like, is it just the rules? Like, for me, does it look like it's the rules of the game now? Like, it seems like any kind of handball which within the box now is a penalty, no matter if you're falling, if you're keeping your hands on your sides. Do you know what I mean? It's a handball unless you're a certain team, you know?
It just doesn't seem to be. I mean, for me, Paul, it's one of the areas of the game for me that should be a simple black and white issue. Do you know what I mean? But if you're falling down and your arms trailing behind you or whatever and stuff like that, if you don't know that you're handballing it, how can it be deliberate? How can it be a penalty?
Exactly, because they were saying, like,
I mean, if you jump up with your hand in the air, what they call like an unnatural position, aye. But you're putting your arm into that position. But if you're actually just like falling or whatever, just
your hand's going to go back to protect your fall, Mark. Do you know what I mean? Protect your body. That's just human instinct, like.
I mean, it gets back to the wee Byrne one against Dundee United. I mean, he's in the air. He's jumping up to head of the ball. The Dundee United player, he did get a touch on it, didn't he?
He hit off, yeah.
And Burnaby's arm was behind him. And it's for me, that was as silly as the one yesterday.
There was some classic passage of play, Mark, as well for the goals. Tomball again, Mark. Look, we spoke about him Thursday night. Look, I agree that his consistency, like we know what he can do, and he that was a great goal. Yes, he just passed it into that far post. Like, that was a great goal by Tomball. And it's exactly that, Mark, what we need from him. And
but we don't. I'm not saying we need it for Turnbull, Paul, but we need it for somebody in that midfield, and it seems to be that Turnbull is the most likely the midfielders to score.
True.
Just the way I mean, it really that is the new. I mean,
do we take O'Reilly out of the team, so Mark, and play like we had yesterday, Turnbull in there?
I would. The new. I mean, O'Reilly's at that
because you're going by. And always says, Mark, he kind of goes by form and who's on form, like, and if he's true to his word, it has to be David Turnbull or even Aaron Moy in there, really, Mark, doesn't it?
Aye, definitely. O'Reilly. I mean, but I love him. Do you know what I mean? So I'm not running the guy down. He's not been playing well. It's as simple as that, sir. He shouldn't be in the team. He's not doing enough on the park to warrant being in the team before guys like Moy, as we've seen in the last couple of games. Turnbull popped up with a couple of goals in that, sir. Aye, the fans is going to stick to his word, as you say, and go with the foreign players. That's who it's got to. For me, even Moy. For me, our starting midfield for the next game, Paul, should be McGregor, Moy, and Turnbull. That's who I would go for. Because I think even Hatate maybe could be doing a wee bit of resting now just to get him back. Fire no cylinders kind of thing, because I think Hatate is one of the players, Paul. I think he's brilliant, really, really a special talent. He could go in and play in any league in the world, I think, Paul, in a few years. And we're no want to burn him out. I mean, we've spoke about it, he's still quite relatively young in his career because, that college system and stuff there in Japan. So we've got to remember that, although he is 23, he still is really at the very beginning of his career. So we're no want to play him when he's maybe not at 100%.
As Brian says, Paul, I'm hearing right. You're now loving Tomball. Like, Mark, I've never questioned Tomball's ability. I question his consistency.
Maybe even his attitude a wee bit. He should be doing better than he wasn't.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? It was
frustrating you.
Yeah, like it's true what Terence said. Tomball could either be a 2 or he could be an 8. Do you know what I mean? When some players like Taylor,
Greg Taylor, he's a 7 or 8 every week.
every week, like I mean, that's the level you want. But and maybe that's the reason, Mark, he wasn't getting into the team, because consistency is key to the way Ange wants his team to play. If you're consistent during the team, that's basically it. Like, isn't it?
Aye.
You know, just one player you touched on there, Mark. Barnaby seemed to be coming under a lot of pressure lately from the press and from Celtic support. Some saying he wasn't good enough after being skinned noobs at times down the left yesterday by a League One player. Like, for me, Greenock had more of a go at Celtic, Mark, than we saw Kilmarnock, Aberdeen, Livingston, Ross County. Like, they had a great go at Celtic yesterday. Like, the Premier League teams were at Celtic Park. Do you know what I mean?
Well, they've came there, Paul, and they've got nothing to lose, so why not try and have a go?
You know, but what's your thoughts, though, Mark? Is it right to be criticised? I think it's a bit harsh like that.
Burnaby? Well, Burnaby wouldn't be playing if Greg Taylor was fit. So even if the fans are saying, oh, he's no doing... I'm not saying he's rubbish. He's not playing too well. But he's still a young guy settling in. I don't even know, does he speak English?
I don't know, Mark. I don't know, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So maybe Ange doesn't think he's ready either, but he's not got much choice, much option but to put him in the now. Simply because Taylor's injured. If Taylor was injured, Burnaby wouldn't have been playing. It's as simple as that.
No, I just called it out because I think it's a bit...
it's over the top,
Mark, just kind of trash a player before, like, do you know what I mean? Before kind of anything happens, like he's still a young lad, and you know the way Ange plays, Mark, he probably never played like that before. Do you know what I mean? So he could be.
But I keep going on about Paul on the forum and on the podcast, and it's a major problem. People, we should be bringing through our young players, our academies rotten, we're not bringing through any good players. But bringing through players that are going to Liverpool and Bayern Munich and places like that. Do you know what I mean? So there's nothing right. So it can't be. No academy's got 100% record. Everybody's going about the amount of players that Ajax produce, but how many do Ajax produce and let go through the youth system?
Well, that's why Ajax are in their position, Mark, to win, because that's the kind of club.
But they're maybe signing 200 young players every season. Do you know what I mean? And then it whittles down as the years go.
The difference is then as well, Mark, the Dutch teams have proper youth leagues. Do you know what I mean? They have proper reserve leagues. Do you know what I mean? So these young lads are played week in and week out as well, though, aren't they? Here they're not, like, do you know what I mean? You know? But
it still is. I mean, I actually have more players that leave them than get into their first team. Just the same at any club in the world, well, unless they're really any bigger club that's got any amount of money to spend is going to be spending money. Do you know what I mean? It's mostly weird clubs that you'll see they've got like a full team like youth players in that, but it'll take somebody exceptional to break into the Celtic team. And then, as I keep preaching about, it's the fans that are one of the major problems on it. They don't let young players come into the team. If they're no phenomenal right away in their very first game, that's them wrote off, garbage, whatever, what we're doing, that academy should be shut down, the usual kind of nonsense. Young players are coming in and they need to learn, they need to make mistakes. I was talking, my wee nephew was up for a game yesterday and we were talking about Starfelt. You know, he's rubbish and he's right. Not my nephew or me saying that, but talking about what people are saying. And I say to him, well, you've got to mind Bobo. Everybody goes on about Big Bobo. Bobo couldn't pass the ball 2 feet in front of him.
No.
Big Bobo couldn't pick a pass. Big Bobo, apart from just being what I say, Paul, a big stopper, Big Bobo couldn't. Big Bobo won the ball and passed it. Most of the time it was to Nakamura, I'm sure.
He was a bomb scare too, Mark, at times.
But people forget that. Craig White, legend. I think that's a new guy. Nice to see you, mate. The draw was made earlier on. We're home to St Mirren, mate.
Just speaking of youth academy, Mark, there that when we were talking Thursday night, we said that if Ange had the team, the game kind of wrapped up, that he should bring on kind of younger players, and we saw him being on Iwata for McGregor, and we saw Bosman Law coming on for Starfelt. I think we can kind of say now that if McGregor needs a arrest, that O'Reilly will come in there, like, talking. He handled what he needed to do, Mark. He just sat there and started passing the ball, which is what that position is,
Aye. So I'm just dancing Alex on the thing. What were you saying there, Paul, about the youth players getting into the team and the game was done?
We saw that, like, once Ange had the game wrapped up, like we were saying Thursday night, this is a type of game now when he should be bringing on young players. We saw bring on Bosman Law for Starfelt and Orasa for McGregor. Look, just start with Orasa first. Like, he seems to be the one that Ange wants to play now if he's resting McGregor.
I thought he done well as well. I know it was his debut against Morton and the game was deed and buried kind of thing, but he seemed quite composed and nothing seemed to kind of fluster him or anything like that. So I was quite impressed with that. And well, boxing well, he's been groomed to become a into, you know what I mean? It's that Andrew. We know he's got like a rigid like the quality, but Andrew's going to coach him into a right good player. I think
there with that substitution yesterday, right? The most logic thing to do there was take off Kobayashi and have the senior defender and Starfelt next to him. But it was a big statement by Ange showing how much he respects Bosman Law by taking off Starfelt and putting Bosman Law in there. You know what I mean? Like, that's like just for the young fella as well, Mark. Like, for him to be covering for Starfelt is a thing. Like, and look, hopefully, Mark, like these little kind of cameos do get him into the next level, do kind of bring him to that stage, because we're hearing so much about him. Like we kind of do want to see him, Mark. Do you know what I mean?
Aye. Jabber Bossilo will not make it at Celtic. Aye, he will.
But the only player I'm confident, Mark, that would make it at Celtic from the youth system at the moment, him and maybe another couple of years, Mark. Would you think Veta? Would you think he'd be there?
I think so. I think it's a big ask again. I mean,
it's tough for a striker, though, Mark.
Aye, that's the hardest position because of the amount of pressure that's on you for a young lad to take on. But as I keep saying, Paul, for me, he should be like our third choice striker. That should be who it should be, kind of thing. But I think he'll have a good future in the game as well. But
he would have featured as well yesterday, Mark, I think. But Andrew saying he'd be out for a kind of couple of weeks because he picked up some injury in the game with the B team, so he's going to be out for a few weeks.
League of Ireland players are shocking.
Jabba, I'll block you now in 2 seconds. Cop on.
Aye. I've seen. Who was the name? Is it Ferizaj or something you pronounce it, Paul? Justin Ferizaj, an Irish player that we were looking at, but I think Spurs. He chose to go to Spurs.
Which one was that?
Justin Ferizaj. His name is.
Oh yes,
he went to Spurs. Plays for Shamrock Rovers. Did he go to Spurs? Aye.
It's not done yet, but I think it's more than likely kind of going to happen. Like, you know what I mean?
Alec, I totally agree with that. I don't know where this is coming from about Kevin Nisbet. I don't think Celtic should be signing Kevin Nisbet either. Do you, Paul?
Jesus, Mark, if you watched him today, would you?
I just never would have anyway. Maybe when he was a bit younger or that.
I've seen on Twitter there today, and on the Discord, I actually think it was Alex that you said it, that Hibs need a decent striker, but I thought they had a decent striker with Nisbet. You know what I mean?
Aye.
People are wanting us to sign him. I wouldn't. No, Mark, not for me.
No, people said as well, but he'll score goals in Scotland. But Kyogo's scoring goals in Scotland, and probably Giacomakis' replacement will score goals in Scotland. We want a player that's going to stick the ball in the net in the Champions League. And
she's going to take her to the next level, Mark.
Aye, and even at that, I mean, you've got to. It's like I've been through this with the forum, Paul, the other day again. People, we should have 3 strikers competing for one shirt. No club in the world can do that.
No.
I mean, look, Man City have got 2 strikers. They could. It's why that Gabriel Hughes left. I mean, if you're sitting there, I don't know,
Jeez, Mark, they didn't even have a striker, and he couldn't get in the team.
But but if you're a player that's trying to like make a career in football, you could go and sign for Man City and sit on the bench, and you might never get a game all season because if Haaland's fit, he's playing. That's basically
exactly. Then you have your number 1, Mark, and
then you've
your
got
number 2 follows into
your
that.
Number 2, and your number 3 for me. I keep saying it. See, they've got to be one of our own young players are a kind of a guy that's a bit. I'm not saying over the hill, but he's maybe just at the very top of the hill, like what they would done when they went out and signed Defoe. You know what I mean? He's happy to live off the scraps of getting a few substitution appearances here and there, and maybe a pay-as-you-play deal and stuff like that. So it should be either or. For a start as well, if you're going out there and spending, say, Celtics, right, we've got Kyogo and say, I don't know, 18 to 20 grand a week. Gio's replacements maybe on 12 grand a week. We're not going to go and spend another, say, 10, 12 grand a week or more than that to get a guy that's not going to get a game. He's not even going to make the bench unless Kyogo or Gio's replacement's injured.
And the way Kyogo's playing at the moment, Mark, I think is that 20 goals now he has this season. I don't think you can kind of take Kyogo to the team at the moment. I think he's actually coming back to his best, Mark. I think Kyogo, isn't he? He seems to be.
He's looking a lot sharper than that.
That must have definitely, Mark, must have been the reason that the thing with the Japan squad being the argument with that Japan manager. It must have been because it was around then. He's dipping forest at the team.
His head went down a bit, wouldn't it?
Yeah. But no, like you see the runs he's making, Mark. It's like Kyogo Vod. He's making the runs, but his runs are making space for that next pass from a Celtic player. Do you get me?
Aye. He never stops. We said that when we signed. When we signed like Kyogo and when Maeda came in, we thought these guys are just going to run for the full 90 minutes, pulling defences all over the place. And that's what they're starting to do again. I mean, see, maybe just as I keep going on, Paul, just after that Real Madrid game with that kind of lull for the end of the break, really, in my opinion. If we'd played Morton and during that spell, Paul, I don't think we'd have beat them as comfortable. I really don't. No score-wise anyway. We'd probably have beat them maybe 2 or 3-0. But the way Celtic were playing at that time, they weren't firing on all cylinders, and we're starting to get back to looking like the team we were earlier on in the season and actually dominating the game, playing well, passing the ball well, getting it up the park quickly and that.
Look, I know we touched it, Mark, a few times, right? But it's something I read about Scott Bain today. There was only something today I read about it that, like, I said it, that you said it, Terence said it when he was on here. If Ange does not pay Bain in this game, it's showing that he has no confidence in Bain. But then, Mark, I heard it came out, it was from an insider within the cup that Bain is actually a bit of character inside the dressing room, the kind of, we say, prankster that kind of puts a smile on people's face, and that's one of the reasons why they kept Bain, to kind of keep that harmony within the squad. Would you agree with that? That's maybe one of the reasons he's kind of there, Mark, because you kind of need those players around those squads anyway, Mark, don't you?
It's like we said when Scott Brown left, there was a big massive hole left in the actual in the dressing room and in the squad, and because his personality, do you know what I mean? That was a big massive gap to be filled in that squad. So for the money Bain's on, maybe it has just been kept there to help that transition if like Ange coming in and that. But I think it come the summer he'll be away, Paul.
But do you think, Mark, as well, like being Bain, like would he be pissed off he's not starting this game against Greenock? Because if Seagrass was fit, there's a guarantee 100% like Joe Hart would be rested. Do you know what I mean? If Seagrass was fit, Seagrass would be playing that game.
I think he would have played.
You know, like it's a big.
But it's not as much keepers needing rest it, Paul.
I know that, yeah.
It's a kind of given, but like this is if you're saying that's what when you sign a backup keeper, you offer them, like, you'll get the League Cup. Do you know what I mean? You're playing the League Cup games and things like that. It's
Well, we saw it last season. Hart played every round of the cups. Do you know what I mean? And then he just picked up an injury, and then it was kind of Bain and Barkas kind of filled in, and then this year Seagrass started the cup run, didn't he? You know, I just think like if I was Bain, Mark, and you know, Jav was saying like Bain loves life. Maybe that's it, Mark. He just loves life. At Celtic, loves being at the club. He's getting medals, Mark. Do you know what I mean? And would he get a medal though if he's not playing, though? Would he?
Aye.
You know.
Aye.
So maybe that's it.
That was Islam Farouz and everything get league winners medals and everything, sir.
In Brendan Rodgers' first season, Celtic invested. Brendan Rodgers asked Celtic to invest in a new state-of-the-art hybrid pitch, costing the club at the time €2 million, and said yesterday after the game that the club were having problems with the pitch surface at the moment, and it's not ideal for his playing fast-freeing football at the moment. He also said that the groundsmen will be working it over the next 2 weeks, and hopefully we can see some bit of an improvement against Livingston on Wednesday, the 1st of February. Like, Jesus, Mark, we talked about Hampden Park last week, but Mark, this is January, and we actually had nothing but problems since we installed this pitch, Mark. It's there's not even grass in it.
£2 million.
£2 million at the time, Mark. So you can imagine how much that
it's as if there's no grass, and it's the artificial stuff that's kind of left.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
because it's like grass woven into like plastic into it.
That's it is. Yeah, it's grass and kind of artificial. Like, but if you
to
look
be
at
fair,
the grass,
Paul, but to be fair, we didn't go cheapskate. We went for what was supposedly the best of the best. But
it's $2 million, Mark's a lot back then. You could imagine how much that would be now in this.
You're probably about 4 million or something like that.
Yeah,
now. But it's just not. I mean, it looks good at the start of the season, and then that's really into it.
Like, so I know the red doesn't help, Mark, but the red doesn't affect from the grass dying. Do you know what I mean? The grass is dying.
Even the bit where I noticed it, but it was really bad. See, with the bit up at the corner flag where the subs warm up and that. I mean, it's like a dirty bit of a field in that corner. So I think it's something that we need to be looked at, and I don't know what the ground staff can do to improve that in the space of 2 weeks.
I know what Alex is saying there. Like we had a bad winter, but
Motherwell's pitch isn't as bad as yours.
But Mark, it doesn't kill the grass. For me, the grass is dying. Do you know what I mean?
Mate, what was it? Just no long after it, what was it they said? It was diseased. Mind that was what they
that was back after Rodgers' time back there. The pitch got diseased. Yeah, it got diseased. And they had to
maybe diseased again then.
Yeah, because if you look, thing like it's like something, Mark. Fuck, I don't know what it is, Mark. Like, it's not. It doesn't even look level. Do you know what I mean? There's bumps in it. There's fucking, and like if Ange wants to play his football, Mark, at home and play this attractive football, that is going to affect the style of play. Like what can
we can't moan about.
You can't dig it up, like.
But we can't moan about. Oh, look at state. I know it's plastic. Theirs is a pure shambles, but we can't moan about the likes of Livingston's pitch, Paul, when yours is sitting the way it is.
Not bad. Like, I was watching the Arsenal and Manchester United match there today. Like, and you see their pitch, like they had the same weather as in the UK, and their pitch is fucking perfect in the Emirates.
I know. Bowling green, isn't it?
Yeah, and now you're looking at Celtics, like, and for us to be one of the top teams, Mark, in Europe, which we want to be, Mark, we can't be going into Europe with a pitch like that.
No.
Do you know what I mean? You know?
No, they'll need to do something with that in the summer.
I think, Mark,
because even but Alex saying there, we've had a tough summer, a tough winter and that, but fair dues, but we've got to make sure that if we give a tough winter next year, it's not going to be the same thing.
Because I noticed, like, down when we were in the Aviva Stadium there for kind of sales meetings, Mark, you know, they put these infrared lamps on the pitch, right? You know, the lamps that go up and down, but they stay on overnight, keeping the field. like I'm wondering, like, do Celtic even do that? Like, because with this
Aye, there
hybrid
is.
pitch mark,
Aye.
you know what I mean? Like, this hybrid pitch mark is supposed to kind of hold its own and kind of hold itself against this bad weather. Like, do you know what I mean? You know, but it's not like, you know. I think
I know the Celtic Day of the Light things you're talking about, but it's just, obviously they're just not working. Do you know what I mean?
that's what I'm saying. Like, do we need to dig it up, put down? Like, I think that's the only way, Mark.
I think so.
We're going to fix this. Like, is dig it up. Like, I can't see the only thing, Mark, I can see them doing to this by February is roll the pitch, trying to even it out as best we can. You know, because unless they're going to dig it up, Mark, and put patches in there, but then in the long term, like, that's not fixing the problem. Do you know what I mean? That's just replacing grass with grass, but the rest of the pitch is still damaged. Like, do you know what I mean? You know, it's not just one
Maybe it'll
patch.
be just a case. Maybe it'll be just a case of getting something done to improve it now at the end of the season, and then looking at what actually needs to be
That's
done
what I'm thinking, like,
longer term.
Would be better off, like, trying to flatten it and make it level and make it some bit freaking playable, like, because, like, if we're going to be putting crosses into the game, Mark, like, you've nothing there really to put the ball on, to cross the ball in. There's no fucking grass there.
Aye.
We'd be digging out what they do in the rugby, putting down those hook things on the floor to kick the ball into the freaking, into the thing. Like, no, it is, like, for such a big
for a club like Celtic, it shouldn't.
But should this
really
march? But should this blame be put on the groundsmen? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what are the groundsmen doing? Like, you know what I mean? You know?
No, I'd be on the phone to that Deso and getting them to sort it.
True. You know, but
what
surely,
I mean?
Mark, like, there's like a guarantee there, like, for so many years. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the pitches. How long is it since Rogers left now, Mark? 7 years? 8 years?
No, it's not as long as that, Paul.
About 6 years? Did Lennon have 2 and he had 3?
No, Lennon had 1.5.
So maybe just
Rogers
4.5
left
years?
18. Celtic new pitch, Celtic.
So 2018, I think that was put down.
It would be about 2019.
2019.
2018 it is, Paul. Aye, there it's here, 2018. So this is the 5th year for it to get done.
This is only 5 years, Mark, like.
Aye. I mean, I'm not surely God there's some kind of even guarantees that you get with when you're putting. You know what I mean? But do you get what I mean? There's got to be some guarantee you're spending £2 million on something. Even in WPM 2269.
Not enough daylight, but
nice
that's what I'm saying. Then, like, if there's not enough daylight, Mark,
but that's what they like.
These infrared lamps there, like that we do in Lansdowne Road. Do you know what I mean?
They do. That's what they do. I've seen them on the pitch.
You know, they fucking touch trunks on their ball in the grass. They forgot there's some artificial grass in there and after melting all the artificial grass.
Lee Griffiths got them cheap off a wee boy, you knows it grows weed up.
He took the white lines off it. That's what he did. Of course, we know, look, we discussed it there, and Craig was looking for their St. Mirren at home marker. You happy with that, draw, St. Mirren at home?
Aye. I'd be happy with any game at home, Paul, in the cup. No, I wanted to get them drew and get them out the way. Do you know what I mean? Because
who did they get?
Partick Thistle.
Oh, Christ's sake, typical.
Because if we go to Hampden needing to win a treble, Paul, and we're playing against them, I think VAR could have a kind of big say on that game that day.
Yeah, sure. Look, the 26 now, Mark, is the big one, like, you know.
You do get a guarantee if you buy a roll of turf for B&Q, Brian. You get a guarantee with anything you buy. If you buy anything, if you've got a receipt for it, you've got a guarantee because you've got your what is it, your consumer rights and stuff like that. So if you're spending £2 million on a pitch a few years ago, you would be saying to them, I'd even have been saying to them, look, do you do a thing that you look after the pitch for us? Do you get what I mean? Supposing it cost another 200 grand a year, but every so often one of their experts came out, and if they had any problems with the pitch, they would look at it and say, right, get your groundsman to do this, get them to do that.
Because if you're Mark, it doesn't even look green. It looks kind of dry, don't it? It looks kind of straw.
That's what
Fletcher, you know?
Alex saying. It's not fit for purpose.
No, it's not. Especially for
And why? That's what the thing about it. You know, these other clubs have got it, and other stadiums have got it, and they don't seem to have these kind of problems that we do.
Ange must be raging, Mark, for him to come out and say that about the pitch yesterday. Like, do you know what I mean? He must be.
Plus as well, Paul, with 5 weeks off or 4 weeks off at that World Cup, why did he know?
Exactly.
Instead of saying, "Oh, we'll try and get it sorted between now and the Livingston game," because it hasn't. It's no looked right for a long time. Let's not kid ourselves on.
No, I remember last season as well, Mark.
We've had the same kind of discussions about it.
Yeah, the pitch didn't look great either. Like, it always seems to be in and around January. Like, the pitch seems to kind of fall apart. Like, you know what I mean?
It does. It breaks. It seems to break up very easily and stuff like that. Players slide in, their chunks coming up at too easy and stuff like that. But if fans isn't happy, do you know what I mean? If fans isn't happy, we'll be getting.
I was just about to say it, Mark. If Ange isn't happy, that will be. Do you know what he'll do now? He'll go off to Japan.
Maybe Peter Law get brought in to sort out the grass. That's why you get brought back.
Yeah.
that's what new chairman and head gardener.
He's gonna go off to Japan. He's gonna buy grass in Japan from a Bondi tree. He's
bonsai leaves in for the patch.
it'll be a new state tree from Japan. Do you know what? With all our dealings from Japan at the moment, Mark, I wouldn't be surprised by.
But he'll probably be able to say, there's a company in Japan that does pitches. Do you know? I mean, there'll be some company out in Japan that's mastered these kind of turf stuff and all that, because they master everything else, Paul. Do you know what I mean?
Mr. Miyagi, we coming over with the Karate Kid. Jesus Christ, I hope he doesn't get in Australia, because they have no fucking grass over there. It'd be all sand. That's what it would. Celtic's next game is away to Dundee United on the 29th of January. Dundee United aren't in the best of place at the moment, sitting 10th place, 11 points, with 11 Kilmarnock on 20 points. And only 3 points above 12th place Ross County. Look, we're actually trying to get Jonas on before this game, Mark, and we talked to him about, Jesus, man, there must be some fair factor around Dundee United at the moment, Mark, if that they could go down, because it hasn't been the best of season for Dundee United this season. You know,
I don't think they'll get down, but it's just Dundee United being Dundee United, and they just never seem to. It just never seem to get, for the Scottish term, like, get out the bit. That's what they call it in Scotland. They just seem to get stuck in these kind of ruts and are bad to run games, and that just kills their season off. Do you know what I mean? See, like, if they had a good start to the season and were a wee bit further up the table and then lost a few games, they probably wouldn't go on as long a run. Does that make sense? But if you're doing the bottom and you're going that kind of run, it's hard to get out of a long run when you're down there. Whereas if you're up the top, psychologically you're playing, we're playing them, they're below us. Do you know, it's a psychological thing as well when you're playing a team.
But you know what they remind me of, Mark? They remind me of us when Peter Law was chairman. When we get on top, like when they started finishing 4th and 5th in the table, they let all their star players go, but they never brought in better players. Do you get me? They never kind of spent that extra bit.
But no Scottish team does that, Paul.
No, they
don't. I mean, apart from us. But I mean, even them at Ibrox don't do that. So you can't like fault Dundee United for doing it. Every penny's a prisoner at these kind of clubs. So if they're getting money in for a player, they can't really afford to spend the majority of what they're getting in on his players.
Is Stephen Fletcher, Mark, their answer? Do you know what I mean? That's what I'm saying.
You know,
bringing in a player like that, Mark. Do you know what I mean? Replacing.
Even doing it, Tony Watt. Do you know what I mean? It's like the journeyman. Do you know what I mean? It's like the rest of the teams in Scotland are all scrambling about for these kind of scraps. Do you know what I mean? And if Fletcher when he went to Dundee United, I don't know, maybe Aberdeen would have took a punt on him. Or, do you know, it's all these kind of players they're signing. they're not signing players that are going to improve the team and take the team forward anymore. It's
No.
just like making up the numbers and Stephen Fletcher, that's a kind of biggish name in Scotland, so we'll take him. And they're not adding anything, they're not bringing anything to the team, they're not improving the team or anything like that.
I think, Mark, look, I'm not thinking but I would think Celtic have too much quality for Dundee United next week, and we should be getting 3 points next
I think
Sunday.
so. I'd be confident of 3 points.
Is there any update on Vickers' injury, Mark, or will he be still out? Or
no heard anything, Paul. No heard anything about it.
It's all.
I don't mean I hope he's a long-term injury or that, but after watching Kobayashi, Paul, I don't think it's that big an issue in the team. Until as long as Carter Vickers is available come the next Derby game, kind of thing. I know I'm wanting back. I'm not trying to run the player down. Do you know what I mean by that? If we didn't have Kobayashi, it would have, and we were playing Jens. It's a bit of a worry, but I mean Kobayashi's even for what I've seen him in the new, Paul, I've got a million times more confidence in him than I have in Jens.
Yeah,
I just thought, aye. So
really
even if it.
Impressive, Mark, right? Since he came in, it didn't phase him, and that's
so we don't need to rush. We don't need to rush Carter Vickers back. That's what I mean. And we don't need him as such. We'll do all right in Scotland playing against Dundee United and all this kind of level with Kobayashi there to make sure that Carter Vickers is fully fit.
Do you think it'll be? Well, I'm not thinking, Mark. I would think it, Mark. I would say it like Hayashi is going to come straight into that squad. I think there's one position, Mark, that I think it's up for grabs at the moment, and it's between 3 players. It's between O'Reilly, Moy, and Tomball. I think that's the only position, Mark, I think at the moment that there's questions who could play there at the moment.
It's like there are 3 different types of players to it, so it's hard to pick. So maybe it's going to be with a kind of horses for courses.
Yeah, but Mark, this time last year, Mark, we weren't questioning O'Reilly. Do you get me? You know, we were always saying O'Reilly's a starter, but now we're saying,
but that's just a dropping for him.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? It's next month we could be saying, for me it's got to be McGregor, O'Reilly, and one of the. Do you know what I mean? It just goes with whoever's actually in form, as we said earlier on.
I think Yasser will come in as well, and. Mayida will be out in the thing, and Yasser will probably slip into Abada. I never know, Mark. He might stick with Abada because Abada seems to be kind of picking up a bit of form as well when he starts. And it's good as well, Mark.
It's good problems to have, Paul.
Yeah, healthy problems.
What I mean?
Mark. That's what they call them. It's healthy problems.
Aye.
That's what it is.
And it keeps players on their toes as well when they know that there's other guys that are playing, that are in form, and if they don't show up, they're going to get the nod in front of them.
Is there? Would you think he'd risk resting Callamack in the game against Dundee United and start the rest there?
No, I don't. If Cal McGregor's fit, Paul, he's starting. Whether we think we agree, and don't get us wrong, we want right. I mean, it's away next week, isn't it? We're away. It's away to Dundee United. I mean, although I'm quite confident in winning, it'll still be a bit of a rough game, and it's always a kind of a tough place to go. Do you know what I mean? So you want your best players there. No, McGregor will be starting there, and no doubt unless he's injured, 100,000,000%, McGregor will start.
So true too. But at least we have a player now that Ange wants, Mark, that we don't have to be playing McGregor, that he can, if Arata turns out, Mark, to be the player that we're hoping he be, that we can actually rest McGregor in some games now as well, that we're not over burning him out.
I totally agree with you, Paul, but I don't know if it will happen.
Yeah, because we've signed so many players there, Mark, didn't we?
Aye.
We've signed, so yeah, Brian, Sunday, it's a 4:00 kickoff. I think it must be
4 o'clock.
FA Cup, yeah. It's 4:00 kickoff. I think it's just 2 seconds there now, bear with me. Could be FA Cup round next week in England.
Right, and that's how we've got that TV slot.
Yeah, so we got did we get the Super Sunday slot, Denmark, I think.
Aye.
Yeah, FA Cup, Mark, is next week, so that's why it's on at 4 o'clock. So we got the prime,
Aye.
as we call it,
Aye. Just said the Super Sunday
the Super Sunday
slot down the
slot. Yeah,
Sky, with Sky.
so that's it. That's the only time we get it, Mark. If there's an FA Cup, is it 4:30, Brian? The WSS, is it 4:30? No, 4 p.m. It's saying 4 p.m. kickoff. You know, yeah, 4 p.m. It's saying here. You know, like the lads, like
Nice wee day out for the travelling support.
how far is it now, Mark, for travel from Glasgow to Dundee? Is it?
It's not that bad, Paul.
Motorways or
Glasgow, it's there. About an hour and a half. About an hour and a half. No, about an hour and a half, like in a bus and a coach or that. Maybe 2 hours depending on the traffic.
Alice saying
Just stay at Mikey's bit. Just chat the door and stay at Mikey's bit after it.
exactly. We'll all go up to Mikey's house. Alice saying our only weak position at the moment is was without. Yeah, look, I have to agree with that, Mark. Like what Taylor brings to the team. You know, you can see clearly. Like, I'm not trying to be a thing, but he is being missed on the left hand side. Taylor, he's been an exceptional player for us this season.
Aye, definitely.
You know, but like maybe this is what Barnaby needs as well, Mark. Maybe he needs a run of games in and around the team to get used to how we're playing. And do you know what I mean? Like, I don't think we should be.
He'll only get better
at the moment. Like, yeah, exactly. Do you know what I mean? Like, every signing is not going to adjust the Celtic straight away. Do you know what I mean? We've seen that with numerous of players, Mark. It takes time, Mark, for a new player to settle into a club. You know, longer, more so than another.
And every case is unique, Paul. You know what I mean? Some players will come in, hit the ground flying. Some players will get a bit of a culture shock, a bit of a shock with the weather and stuff. Do you know what I mean? So, no, every player's. You can't judge every player by the next player. Do you know what I mean? Everybody's with ages, experiences and stuff like that. Everybody reacts to different stuff different. So I just put it down to that. I mean, again, just a massive overreaction about a guy having a bit of a poor game. I mean, that's basically what it is.
Do you want to run the advert or?
No, I'm not going to. No, it's not to run it, Paul. It's just so I've got a wee pause so I can find a silent spot. So we're just going to be silent for about 10 or 20 seconds, lads. We're not cut off or anything like that, right? It's just for to help me do something behind the scenes, right? Right, that should do it, Paul. That should be that.
What is it? What did you do?
No, that is, see when I put I fixed the audio stuff to put it on the podcast and things and all that.
All right.
It'll automatically put an advert in at the beginning, and it'll also put one in at the end. But you can put hundreds in the I'll never do that. I'll never be saturated with adverts on anything I do, Paul. But if you want to put one in the middle, which they advise you to do, you can, without having to get through listening, Paul, for a wee gap, so that it's not like me just talking then nothing and going to an advert. So we've finished a topic, a wee lull in it, and I can search for the quiet spots in this audio rather than having to listen through it all again. So that'll be 10 seconds there. That'll find that itself, and I'll just slot an advert in there for the audio, the podcasting.
What just last a match of the day thing, like when we hear a phone ringing and there's someone getting off on the phone?
No, it'll be nothing like that. No, it'll be nothing like that. That was madness, wasn't it? That was
no, it was really, but you see how he did it? Did you see how he did it?
No, I didn't.
YouTube. He went for this fella. He's called some prankster over the and he went for a tour of the Maalock Stadium on the Friday before the game, and he saw it going around anyway. He was asking what the different rooms were, and next he saw all these people putting in the Sky Sports the match of the day box,
right.
you know, the sports scene box, and he asked him, like, what's that room there? Oh, he goes, that's when the match is on there now the weekend, the lads will, on Wednesday, Mark, when the team come in on Wednesday, that's where Gary Lineker and the Danny Mills and them will go, and that's where the thing so was grand tour. And he asked the fella, he said he was going to the toilet. He snuck into that room then and taped an old telephone under the chair of Gary Lineker.
That's brilliant, isn't it?
So when the match day was on, then he was at home and he showed it. Then his friend then was video cameraing at home. When he was at home, he rang the phone and he'd match day on. When he rang his phone, the noise then came on in the match of the day studio. I said the fella will get nabbed for that, Mark, would he? You know?
What can happen to him?
I don't know, you're not getting his phone back, is he?
Well, he's not getting that's true.
Like, man, going back up there, like my phone.
Aye, I dropped my phone in there.
Like, I've got my phone there. I think I lost my phone there inside the match of the day studio there.
I mean, I don't know how it could be, like, maybe what's that kind of, because it's like porn noises, it's maybe like malicious communications, because kids could have heard it and stuff like that, you know what I mean? But I don't think anybody would, if you can't see the funny side of that, you're wanting to have a hard look at yourself,
Gary Lineker was trying to keep a straight face and everything. He was like, is that someone's phone going off? He was like, you heard the noises in the back, like he was in stitches, like he was trying to be as serious as he could, like, you know what I mean? You know,
the thing about it is, you know, the presenters on these things, they're all beginning in and checking under their seats in that now.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we could do it for, imagine doing something for big fat Chris Boyd at Celtic Park.
I'd love it, wouldn't you?
Just see that the big fat tune that they play when fat people are in cartoons and that.
Chewbacca from Star Wars with it. Celtics, Josef Ivanovic has finalised a 7 million deal plus is a 3 million add-ons, I think, Mark.
That's what you said. Aye.
Hector Berlin. Now, the question is, Mark, are we equipped? Would you be happy with the two right backs at the club, in Alistair Johnson and Anthony Ralston? And who would you prefer to be there at the moment now between the two lads?
I'm more than happy with the two that we've got, Paul. And Johnson, we're talking about players that can come in and hit the ground running, Paul. Johnson's come in and after a handful of games, man, it's as if he's been playing that Celtic team for years.
Mm-hmm.
He just came in and settled right in. And I mean, this isn't sour grapes. I've said I don't think Ivanovic became the player we thought he was going to be. He started better, and I think he went downhill. And I hope Johnson's not going to do the same thing, because he looks as if he's a better player than Ivanovic.
I think
could be. I mean, we know Ivanovic what he can do. We've seen it, but he wasn't doing it enough for Celtic.
Yeah, but you know what happened to him, Mark? Do you remember drawing the transfer window during the summer when Let's Go and Chelsea and all these clubs were kind of sniffing around him? That's when I think his form went downhill. Yeah.
Aye.
His head was torn then, and he just hasn't, Mark. We've seen a different player when he was in the World Cup with Croatia, when he was with Celtic. You look at one of the first games, Mark, at Ibrox, Kent didn't get a sniff off him. You know, and then in the last couple of games, Denmark, Kent seems to be running all over him, like, you know what I mean? You know, I've been crying for weeks, Mark, to have Radisson start instead of him. You know?
If you see when you look at that Alistair Johnson, right? Mind that old ugly Davy Moyes fitback here.
Mm-hmm.
Look at that, and then look at Alistair Johnson. That could be Davy Moyes back then. Could be his dad. Looks like that. That's what it looks like. So, but see the thing, going back about Ivanovic going to that Union Berlin for that kind of money, Paul. How can Union Berlin spend that on Ivanovic and Mainz couldn't afford the Cho deal?
I know. You know,
I don't know why they couldn't afford it. I don't know, but when they came out and said it themselves, you can't question it. The club themselves came out and said, if that's going to be the fee, Mainz will be in the conversation. Mm-hmm. And yet Union Berlin, Union Berlin, are they not like a up and down kind of team?
Yeah, that's why I'm kind of like, the move really doesn't bother me, Mark, because like we've two capable right backs there. For Ivanovic himself, Mark, I thought he would have kind of looked at a better club.
Aye.
Was that we were hearing that were going for him? Like, no, you know, look, Mark, at the end of the day, like money talks, and maybe they were offering him the more money.
Must be something to do with that, or just even maybe just fancies his chances in the German league, Paul, and that's where that was like his only offer to get it.
But at least, look, he won a few cups with Celtic, like, because he's not going to win that one fucking heck the ball in anyway. So at least he can say he won a league in Scotland.
Aye. He done well for us. We made a few bucks off it, and nobody fell out.
Yeah, Mark. You know what? I'm happy with the 7 million plus 3 million add-ons, Mark, because of these rumours going around, Mark, that we were only getting 3 million for him and 4 million for him. At least we got kind of double digits, which is 10 million. Like, we don't know what the ins and outs of these add-ons are, but presume, Mark, is going to be in around appearances and cups and stuff like that.
If they stay in the league, maybe kind of thing, even that.
Yeah. You know, so like so Korean striker Oh Hyun Gyu could be Celtic's next signing in the next couple of days. He has openly admitted he wants to join Celtic. Swan Blue Wings manager has also said he can't break the striker's heart and won't stand in his way in a move to Celtic. And in another deal that could be done and isn't off at the moment is striker Chu Gi Sung deal is still kind of up in the mix as well, Mark. I think what did you say? He's making a decision on Monday.
It's meant to be.
Kind of what he's doing, but
that's the kind of deadline that it mentioned one day the week. It was one of the kind of Japanese translation job kind of things, Paul, and it was like Monday will be the decision day, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. So would you think though, right, if we sign the O'Hyan fella, will he bring in a second striker? Oh Jesus, look at that. Jesus Christ.
You see it?
Yeah. Big foxy hair, no, I definitely did. You know? Probably was foxy, he probably dyed it. He saw the picture of David Moyes, you know? But would you think Andrew bring in the two South Koreans, Mark, or are we looking at the alternatives because there's uncertainty?
I think it's going to be either or, Paul.
Mm-hmm.
It's going back to the old three striker argument, isn't it? Because the two of them are out and out strikers, aren't they?
Yeah, they're out and out strikers.
So I don't think. I think it'll be either or.
What I'm kind of hearing, like from people, is that they're similarity the same. Do you know what I mean? That there's not much.
They're similar. Similar types of players. That's why I tend to think that it's going to be an either or kind of thing, Paul. That's what. I don't think we're going to bring in two new strikers in this window unless Paul Keogh goes off in the summer. That would be the only way that I would see that happening. Because I just don't think we're going to spend money on three strikers as we've spoke about. It's just not going to happen, really, is it?
No, Mark, I don't. I think
unless it's part of the. And as I've said, this is what Angie's fourth window, is it? This will be his fourth window with. He's not brought in like. He's always only worked with the two strikers, and then when we were cut short, he's tried Jota in there, put Maeda in there, and stuff like that. So it's no kind of, it doesn't seem to be like in his way of thinking to have three like kind of toppish strikers in your squad. So no, I can't see the base of them coming in, bud.
I think, Mark, I think we're going to go for the Guion fella. I think going by what Andrew's saying, that he's not going to sell the club, and I believe rang this fella Chung Sung as well. But I think what I'm looking at from the outside is that he made Celtic wait in his decision, and Ange kind of didn't want that. Like, doesn't want a player, Mark, who has to think twice about coming to the club, and that's maybe why we moved on.
But when you look at the reasons, but Paul, when he was kind of everybody. Paul, we keep saying these contract things can go on for months and months and that, but the guy himself, one of the reasons that when it came out that he decided to stay where he was that he didn't feel he was fit enough to go and play with another club. I mean, that's him, the guy himself, that said that, and he just hoped if he did decide to stay, that the same teams would still be interested in him come the summer. But maybe Angie's been like, well, we're not going to wait till the summer.
Exactly.
So I think, so if you're not going to give us a yes, maybe it's Celtic has put this deadline on it for Monday. To get, pardon me, sorry about that. And it's a case of, we've give you this, if you've no signed for us by this date or give us a definite answer by this date, we're moving on. It could be something like that, Paul.
Exactly, Mark, especially with Jake Marcus now, kind of, he's on the move. There's two sides, Red Diamonds and Atlanta United from the LMS. Like, he made his feelings clear, Mark. He wanted better wages. The club weren't willing to give it to him.
He wants right, Brian. Good night, Brian, mate. See you later, bud.
Do you know what, Mark? Look, as much as I like him and stuff like that, but if he doesn't want to be here, good riddance. Move on. We had enough kind of that, Mark, over the years, especially the 10 and row team, when players didn't want to be. I know, to be fair, Mark, himself and Ivanovic kind of still gave it their all up until the last minute when they would have compared to Edward and Christie that time.
Exactly.
You know?
I mean, I'm not Steven Giacomakis, I'm not grudging any player. We sell we're a bit disappointed that which Giacomakis going to Japan for, which he wanted to go to America for. That's for old players, blah blah blah. But we use Celtic, we sell Celtic as a stepping stone. A lot of fans don't like me saying using that kind of term.
Like Japan and the LMS is money thing over.
But we use it. We sell the club as a stepping stone. That if you come to us, develop, and you get a chance to a big move, or you want away better money, whatever, we'll no stand in your way as long as we're doing all right out the deal. That's what Celtic say. Come to us, play for us. Look at the players we've sold into the Premier League. You come to us and you'll catch the eye. If you'll catch the eye of Premier League teams, if you're playing with Celtic, you'll catch the eye. You'll be playing in the Champions League, so you'll be catching the eye more than them. And even if you're getting beat Paul in the Champions League games, the way scouting is, they know. Even if Celtic get beat 6-0, the numbers that these scouts use and all that, they'll know who's a good player and who isn't in the Celtic team. Do you know what I mean? So you can't stand in the way you're even be like, you can be bitter. See the way you're saying the Edward and the whole kind of spitting the dummy out, that leaves a bit of a taste in your mouth. But when guys just come and go and they've done well and they've moved on, and that's it. Fair dues to them. I hope they have a great time and a great career. We'll replace them.
Exactly.
And they'll never be as loved at another club, Paul, as they've been at their time at Celtic. Never.
Do you know what the best thing is, though, Mark? We seem to have the ball in motion to bring a player in before a player leaves. Something that hasn't happened in Celtic before. For a long
planning, Paul.
Yeah,
that's the kind of planning I've harped on about.
Proper how a club runs. You know, you could be happy with this one. It's being reported that on loan centre back Martes Jens could be leaving the club during the transfer window, as he's found his time in the first team and first dream squad limited over the last couple of months. Teams from Germany or France seem to be interested, Mark, that he himself has come out in France in French football news outlets, Mark, that he's thinking of moving on from Celtic.
Aye. Again, it's one of the moves. He came, he tried it, and it didn't work out.
But here's my question. Do you know about that, right? Okay, we've seen the deal from Morton. What's his name? That the striker, Wakehurst, Mark Morton, Wakehurst, that Manchester United signed when he was on loan at Besiktas, right? But he was owned by Burnley. But when United went to sign him, they had to confiscate Besiktas 3 million, Mark, because they weren't getting the full loan fee for the season because of that. You get me? Aye. So if he wants to leave John the thing, Mark, and whoever his loan club is, I can't remember now, Mark. But if he moves on, Mark, will Celtic get confiscated for that, like similar to that Wakehurst deal? Because I presume, Mark, that loan fee.
You've seen that as well, Paul.
He already kind of paid, like, do you know what I mean? If it's a loan fee, Mark, the kind of loan fee kind of is normally kind of upfront, like, isn't this?
Aye, and I don't imagine it would be that great a
number.
That's
what I'm saying. It's not going to be that much, like, but we should be getting some of our money back, Mark. Do you know what I mean? You know?
No, but that's Paul, I'll try and find out how that actually works. I'll ask Ed too about it. But that is quite a good point to make because
the reason I said is
surely you should get it might be in the contract, Paul. If it's cut short, it gets worked out. Do you know what I mean? He's only been there for half it, so they're half your money back.
Because Bishik at the time, Mark, they said like, well, United can't just negotiate here at all with Burnley. They need to negotiate with us because we put up a fee for the season for Wakehurst. If they want to sign him, he has to cancel his loan agreement with us, and we need to be compensated that 6 months. Like we said, if it's 3 million, Mark, they must have paid Burnley 6 million for that deal, so they're getting half back. What for that 6 months he's not going to be with them. Like I wouldn't have brought it up, Mark, only because when I was writing up by Jens, then the lineup came up about the Manchester United, and I saw whether I was like, fuck, that's an interesting thing there. Now that when United signed him, like, will this be similar to Jens wanted to?
It probably will be.
You know.
You just says you've paid for a year. You've paid to basically rent something for a year, and you're only getting it for 6 months. Probably Celtic will be due money back. I
just don't have long hair, boy. That's like Stephen Welch as well, Mark, is another fella who I believe Celtic are willing to listen to offers.
Future Italy captain Stephen Welsh. If he goes to Italy, that'll be what we'll call him, future Italy captain.
You know,
I'm disappointed in that. I know, but it's just not going to work out now, isn't it? No, for him. And just bringing in Kobayashi.
I think now at the moment, Mark, looking at Welch, Mark, I think you're going to have Starfelt, right? Kobayashi, Vickers, and I would think, Mark, Laurel.
I think that's going to be it. I think he's going to take Stephen Welsh's place in the squad, Paul.
That'll be the young member, Mark, then in the bench and in around the first team squad, like, you know, because Welch was on the bench yesterday, and freaking if he was going to be kept on, Mark, I think he would have been brought on yesterday. I think.
That's a good shout, Paul. Carter Vickers, Starfelt, Kobayashi, and Big Bosun.
Mm-hmm.
He's a big lad, isn't he? He's a big bit of a lad.
Jeez, Mark, he is, boy. You know, he is like.
He'll not be getting bullied in the derbies. That's a certainty. In a couple of years' time.
We said like we want a bit of physique in the team, but physique is good, but we want someone who can play, and Bosman Law can play. Do you know what I mean? You know, so like I was, Mark, when we signed him from Watford that time, I was over the moon. Like I was like, how did we get this fella? Do you know what I mean?
But surprising because there was a lot of big teams looking at him.
Spurs were looking at him. Arsenal were looking at him.
Maybe that's the time. But Paul, see the thing about it, and I've said this before, right? Whenever we sign Irish players, there's here we go. We need to sign them because they're Irish and that. See if a player's a good player and he's Irish. See if we use that we're Celtic to sign him. What's wrong with using that?
Exactly, because he's going to follow Celtic and we're grown up.
Do you know? But do you know what I mean?
That's just an Irish team, like, do you know what I mean?
I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. If you're like, here, would he come to Celtic if he was English or that? No, but any player. But if you say, supposing me and you sitting, we're Ange and Michael Nicholson talking about so and so doing in England, he's coming up available. What about him? Oh, I don't know or that. Where's he fading that? A wee bit of background there. Like, what about this boy? Not blah blah blah. He's Irish. He might. We'll not get him. We might get him because he's Irish. Just ask the question. Do you know what I mean? Maybe an English player like that. No, I'm not going up to Scotland, but an Irish player like that with a chance to play for Celtic. You know what I mean? You use things like that to your advantage.
But that would be the selling point, Mark, to any young Irish fan. Like, do you know what I mean? Like the chance to go play.
But fans moan about it as well.
He'd have a better.
We're only signing him because he's Irish. Do you know what I mean? You can't win.
You know, I'd have more hope from him, Mark, than I would of Liam Scales getting in the Celtic team. Do you know what I mean? You know?
Aye.
You know,
I think Aberdeen might. I watched him the other week, Paul, and I actually thought he'd done no bad. I can't remember what game it was I was watching. It must have been playing against him. It must have been.
When he got the snack off Kent.
Aye.
You know, and look at that time, Mark. That's not even being looked at now. Like afterwards,
I know.
and it was a
I
clear
know.
dig in the face, like clear dig in the face, and it's not being looked at. You know.
And
Like,
VAR broke just before it, and then worked again just after it.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean, Mark? It's just
You couldn't
ridiculous.
write it. You could honestly, Paul.
Yeah.
Since you were trying to write a comedy, ruin football, and you wrote this was part of the comedy. Even knowing right, women are that's not going to get us, but football fans will get this really funny. See if you put this stuff in a comedy, people will be like, that's a lot of shite. Do you know what I mean? But it's real life. It's that funny. Is that ridiculous that people wouldn't believe it if you did make it up?
I don't know, man. Do you know what I mean? You could write an episode of EastEnders now, Mark, with VAR at the moment, like.
Aye.
You know, but like Clancy, though, Mark, is just not a good ref.
No.
Do you know what I mean? You're taking even before VAR came in.
The time, Paul, how long did that take? See, another thing. I'm sorry to cut you off here. The time it took him. Right. See if there's a VAR call, there should be no question of whether the ref goes out to monitor or no. Do you know what I mean? If there's a VAR call, as soon as that right, VAR right out of the monitor. Why is he standing there on the park? And I've noticed as well, Paul, they're all standing there holding their earpiece, looking for the drama effect. You get what I mean? As if they're the centre of attention with their horn up, holding the earpiece into their ear. For what was it yesterday? 3-4 minutes before he went out to look at the monitor. What's the point? So they're up there in that VAR, looking at it. Aye, maybe. Aye, right. The ref better have a look at it. It should be the ref's decision anyway. As soon as there's a VAR call, a VAR check, the ref should be out at the monitor, and it should be the ref that's making the call, whether it's a penalty, whether it's.
Well, Mark, we had proof in the
right on my wick. That's so it does.
When you could clearly see Beeson saying it's not my decision.
Aye.
And you could clearly see now that it's VAR that's reffing the game, not the referee.
And that's not what it was brought in today.
No, it's not like.
And see, another. I mean, as I said, we'll try and get Jonas on because he's not been on for ages either, man. We'll have to try and get him and
Am I right in saying, Mark, they're parked up on the roads near to the stadium in vans?
Aye, some of them are, aye, but some of them is some remote place, Paul. They don't need to be even there, but that's the thing.
You know.
But other teams that Jonas, Dundee United, there's been things they're raging about as well that's cost them points in games that we don't see because there are no big games playing Celtic or Rangers, we don't see them. And then right there's that thing last week when the VAR thing when it broke down, right, you know, it missed Kent punching Scales. What if there'd been a controversial goal during that 10-minute breakdown?
Exactly.
What if Aberdeen had a perfectly good goal chopped off and there was no way you check it because VAR was broke? So you're playing in a game with VAR and it's cost you the game, but there's no VAR to check. Do you get what? It's just so crazy, man. The Scotland never do any straightforward. Everyone's arse failable and the cheapest version of it because this is supposedly some cheapo version of VAR.
It's partial VAR, they call it. Yeah. Like I just hope now, right, that these mobile vans at the wind that they don't. Is it Tannadice's Heart Stadium? Is it?
No, Tannadice is Dundee United.
And Tynecastle is Hearts.
Tynecastle's Hearts.
I just hope they don't go up to Tynecastle, Mark, and take away the VAR machine off there because people think they're robbing a fucking ATM machine.
Aye.
It looks like an ATM machine at the side of the pitch.
If it draws up next to Tynecastle, every telly in the vicinity will be getting turned off. I think it's all TV detective vans back in the area.
Exactly, yeah. Put them in that box there. Put them in the box. You know, that's why he's taking so long, man.
I mean, they're Alex saying in England they held their game from starting to it was sorted.
Was that in England they held the game from starting? They did, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. There was a problem with VAR and you know, but it's check beforehand, Mark, down there, like, you know what I mean? And if they want this league, Mark.
So, somebody said it was Morellis had unplugged it to put the microwave on. I saw something on Twitter saying that the VAR Morellis pulled the plug out to put the microwave on to make something to eat.
His stomach was probably rumbling, I said, because behind it. And he was thinking, but Jesus Christ, Mark, but he's out of shape.
20-minute delay, won't it? Aye.
No, he really is out of shape, Mark.
Oh, aye.
You know, even Lee Griffiths, Mark, in his bad days wasn't like that.
No.
You know.
Brian McClure looks better than him.
I saw him the other day.
Do you know what I mean?
Christ, man. What's he doing to himself, boy? See the beard?
Oh,
You wouldn't
aye.
even know, like, if I was on Scotland, no, Mark, like, I wouldn't even know that's Brian McClure. Probably think it's a hippie at the side of the road.
Aye.
Put
But
on a
she
band
knew he'll stick out now. See, because the pictures of him's coming out like that. I mean, he's been growing the beard for a while. Every few months a picture of him pops up. But see, she just says, if you've been walking down the street and he walked by you, you wouldn't say, is that Brian McClure? But see, if you're at one end of the street and you saw him at the other end, the way he looks to know, you'd be like, there's Brian McClure up there. He'd just stick out like a sore thumb.
There's a band there that pops up in my Twitter account there. It's a Scottish band, and they be playing all drums and things, but they're dressed in kilts and they wear no top smack. They're real Highlanders. I forget the name of it, but there's an old man there. He has a big, huge beard, and they're always playing in Glasgow City. Anyone know who I'm on about? No.
No.
And fucking Brian McClure looks like someone out that I would think that would be part of their band. Now if I saw him, like a folk singer or something like that.
Aye, lead singer sitting behind Mel Gibson in the Braveheart film or something like that.
He was some player though, Mark, way back in the day, wasn't he?
Brilliant.
Brian McClure, wasn't he?
Charlie Nicholas broke my heart with Celtic when he left Celtic, but Brian McClure mended it. You know what I mean? Then broke it again when he left. But aye, what a player, man. Alex Ferguson, do you know what I mean? Ferguson taking with Man United, and Ferguson said for years that pound for pound McClure was the best signing he ever made. And then until Cantona kind of had his legacy kind of thing for £1 million, do you know what I mean?
There were thing there. There's a new thing now after popping up. Stories of Alex Ferguson in the dressing room, Mark, now and stuff like that, you know. And you'll see him on Twitter, like they're actually brilliant for the things Ferguson did. Like, I mean, there's the players know what they're doing now, Mark, with their social media and stuff like that, and thing. Like Jesse Lingard, there, Mark, is more interested. More interested in his clothes. They would have never got away at Manchester United with that kind of. There was one reason old Ferguson got rid of Pogba at United, because he knew what type of player Pogba would be. And United bring him back. Do you know what I mean? You know?
Aye. Based on millions upon millions went out that club doing Pogba. And I've said it before, but I've seen him playing with France. I've seen him playing with. Even when he was at Juventus, Paul, I wasn't even that impressed with him. He seems to get. France seemed to get.
Is a dick.
Aye.
Do you know what I mean?
Aye. Anybody, aye.
You know, Ramsey.
Especially, see, young players, I've said to you before, Paul, I'd have to control all that kind of thing. See, if I was a football manager and stuff like that, see young players, I would even put a cap on the amount of money they're allowed to spend on things like a car and all that. They're like in the first team in 20 or 21, stuff like that. Do you know what I mean?
Definitely. Because
you've got young players, you know, 18, 19 driving in big, massive, souped-up Range Rovers, you know, these wee sporty motors and all that. And they've maybe made 2 sub-appearances for the first team in the last 2 years.
Yeah. What would our cap be, Mark, in the B League?
But for pay? To be honest, Paul, I honestly couldn't even guess, to be honest, mate. Really, that's enough honest.
Like, would some of them be on 2-3 grand, Mark? Maybe 5 grand, you think? Some of them there?
Oh, I wouldn't think it'd be any of them on 5 grand or that, Paul. I think maybe with your like Big Boss and all that, maybe he'd be one of the kind of top earners, because we've took him off an English club. Exactly. A lot of other offers. So I don't know. See, if I was hazard than I guess, Paul, I'd say maybe 2 grand was the top earners. I'd say that's just me guessing. I might be miles out with that.
But like, is that enough as well? Like, for a 17-year-old and 18-year-old at the moment, like it's enough. Like,
it's enough, Paul. See, when I left school, there was things Alico minded these younger guys will never have heard them, right? They were called a YTS, a youth training scheme, right? And this was the Tories trying to do away with apprenticeships, basically, Paul, right? So between 16 and 18, you went to work. You were meant to be learning a job, right? Meant to be, but you were basically skivvy. It was slave labour, right? And you're working there, right? And I swear to God, for you were 16 to 17, you get £29.50 a week. If you were 17 to 18, I think it went up to about £38 a week. right? And you're working there next to guy. You're doing the exact same job as a tradesman. Do you get what I mean? Or somebody in a factory that's on maybe at the time say £150 a week, and you're getting £30 a week, and £5 of that they took off you to cover like your travelling expenses. You get a bus. See, like if you got a bus ticket or a train ticket, it costs you £5. So you're out there working for £24.50 a week. Know what I mean? And Buckfast was £2.95 a bottle back then, Paul.
Fuck, no wonder you all lived in fucking Buckfast, Jesus.
No, but that's what I mean. But you buy right, but there are 2 bottles of Buckfast, Paul, and you're doing even £20 left in your pocket, and you've been out working all week.
Jesus Christ.
Do you know what I mean? Hi, Mikey, how you doing, bud? Nice to see you, mate.
Mm-hmm.
And that's stuff like that. I mean, when I left school, my dad told me, he says, my dad wouldn't let me do that. It's like, no, if you want to go and work somewhere else and that, go and work somewhere else, but you're you're melting for YTS money at $29.50 a week, no chance. But I mean, that's the way it was then. And now you're saying it's $2,000 a week, all right, for a 16 or 17-year-old.
That's what I'm saying, Mark. It's enough, like, you know what I mean? Jesus, like, no wonder they're going off their heads. Do you know what I mean?
Aye.
No wonder they're going off their heads and going clubbing and going wayward, Mark, with their lifestyle even before they hit the first team, like, do you know what I mean? You know?
Aye. And it's just because they're all their social media, and it's a kind of, the love in for them, the young ones and that so sky high, so that feeds their ego even more, isn't it?
I was listening there, like, just looking at young players, and we were just talking to there. They were saying there that I knew he was a ball boy at the club, Tierney, but that after a game in his last season, Nakamura gave Kieran Tierney, a 10-year-old Kieran Tierney, his boots after a game.
Aye, there's a wee mini documentary thing about it.
Yeah, like that's a proper youngster for me, Mark, that kept his head down.
Aye.
He just wanted to play football for a club. Do you know that he loved? Do you know, and he worked hard. Like, I mean, like, I know he's left now, he's gone to Arsenal, like, but if any youngster, Mark, wants to follow in footsteps like this, should be looking at Kieran Tierney. Do you know what I mean?
Aye, consummate professional. Guys like Kieran Tierney, Paul Scholes. When did you ever read Paul Scholes? Anything? When did you read? I'm not even seen anything bad. When did you ever read?
Toenails there, Mark. No, that's gone a bit too far now. Like, you know what I mean?
What?
He was biting his daughter's toenails on Twitter.
Aye, then. But I'm talking about years ago, Paul.
Yeah, but he didn't have cameras then. He could be biting his girlfriend's toes back then.
Aye, but you were picking up the paper, and Beckham was over the paper, Giggs was over it, John Terry, for all these kind of Spice Boy generations. You never read anything about Paul Scholes or Gary Neville or anybody like that.
No. Ryan Giggs was
That's
probably...
That's how I see when Roy Keane starts talking about all that kind of stuff, Mark, who sat and listened to it for ages when he starts going on about it, and the way he looks at that big... Who's the big guy? He does all the stuff for you now.
Did you see
Man City, Man City, him a fan, Man
Richards.
City. Aye. I love all that stuff.
Did you see what he said?
Evening, Joseph. Nice to see you, bud. Will Smith as well.
Celtic, Gary Neville were over in Dublin, Mark, a couple of years back. Now it's gone back a few years, and it was with that Joe.ie crowd, you know, and they were doing interviews, and they were saying, like, is Alex Ferguson the best manager ever? And he was like, look, Ferguson was a great manager, like, but look, fucking, was he the best manager at times for Manchester? And he goes, no, you listen to this, he said, fucking, his son won 2 league medals with Manchester United when he shouldn't have. His other son was a scout for Manchester United, and there's questions about him.
He said, his brother Martin, he was a super scout for Man U.
Yeah, he said.
But you can't fault what he fun, Paul. That's the thing I always say when people bring that up.
When Duncan Denmark was manager of Preston, Ferguson loaned him all these new top talents for Manchester United, right? Over to Preston, gave him about 5 players of the next supposedly the big teams, like, you know. And then Duncan got sacked by Preston, and Ferguson pulled all the youth players out of Preston. And Queen thought, no, was that in the best interest of Manchester United? No, he said, cop on, give me a break, he says, about Alex Ferguson, he said. You know, all this hype about him being the best manager. Fox was lucky he had the best players. You know, he's
No,
the clinical boy, keen boy, isn't he? He's,
aye.
you know,
That's one thing I would maybe disagree with him on that, to be fair, Paul, really.
you know.
You know what I mean? You
Of course,
can't...
I don't doubt, but you could see, Mark,
Oh, I can see... No,
the,
I
the
mean, it
rift
wasn't...
is still there between the two of them. Do you know
I
what I
mean,
mean?
no, but it's like they missed their time, Paul. And see, at the time, I mean, at the time, you weren't the press or nothing weren't allowed to say anything against Alex Ferguson or Man United or any of his players. Or he was on the blower giving them dogs abuse, because he done the same at Aberdeen. He gave them dogs abuse, and he was one of the first managers, Paul, back in the 80s and that, to like ban journalists and stuff like that.
Was he?
I can't even mind ever hearing like the likes of Jock Stein or anything like that, like banning journalists. But I can mind Alex Ferguson doing it when he was at Aberdeen.
Jesus,
So
man.
that was that. But I mean, obviously Roy Keane's involved in a lot more, knows a lot more about the inner workings, what he does behind the scenes. But I mean, Alex Ferguson done well for himself and his family out of Man United. There's no doubt about it. But
Mark, he done well for
you
Man
can't,
United.
you can't fault what he done as a manager.
He
Say
must
that he
be-
wasn't
he-
one of the great, one of the. I'm not saying he was the best, but one of the best.
It must be killing him now, Mark, the way Manchester United are going. It must be killing him.
Because it was all. I mean, it was all. I mean,
But
for
Mark,
years,
is
until all these big Saudis and that came in, Paul, for years and years, Manchester United were the richest football club in England for certain, by a country mile, and
Yeah.
maybe always up there with Real Madrid and Bayern Munich is one of the richest clubs in the world, just because of the actual size of their worldwide fan base.
Yeah.
So Ferguson United back then when this Premier League kicked in and that, Ferguson's United was like Celtic the now. We've always going to have a financial advantage over the rest of Scottish football.
Yeah, but
Because of the size of our stadium, B, the size of our world fan base and the way we market things and stuff like that. So Ferguson spent a hell of a lot of money, but it brought them a hell of a lot of success.
But I give you a good example now, right, of the way things are now at Celtic. Like, everything's going well, Mark. Everything seems like what we hope is rosy in the club. But the likes of Arsenal and Manchester United at the time, they were controlled by Arsene Wenger and they were controlled by Ferguson. They basically ran the club. Now, and it's taken Arsenal years to get where they are,
Aye.
and United still haven't recovered it. Are we giving Ange too much control in the club, Mark? That if he ups, Mark, could we be in a problem?
A million percent, Paul. I said this even last year to you, bud, on here. We need to be careful that we're not putting all our eggs in the one Ange basket, because it's all right saying, he'll be here for a good few years yet and that, right? Nobody knows what the Mora brings, Paul. I mean, God forbid, touch wood, Ange could go out and walk in front of a bus tomorrow. He could drop dead of a heart attack. Do you know what I mean? Anything in the world could happen. And if you've got that kind of thing...
Is he still on a rolling contract, Mark, or what's the story?
Aye, still on a rolling contract.
Yeah.
And
I mean, so there's no long-term guarantee there, right, Mark, still at the moment? Like, is there? You know?
I think Paul is just going for... I think he's getting a kind of... What is he? He's just using... How would I say that? He's hoping that the board are trusting him on his word, that he's no good. Do you get what I mean? That kind of way. You just why do I need a contract? Why do I need a...
Mark, then, like, if you look on the other side, like if you look at Ange Denmark, is that he probably loves that Celtic let him have so much control, because I think Ange is that type of manager, Mark, that he wants control of everything. Do you know what I mean? And he actually loves it, because Mark, if he moved to a bigger club, or not necessarily a bigger club, Mark, but we say down south, Mark, to Crystal Palace, or we say Everton, all these lower teams, Mark, that might look at Ange. Do you know what I mean? They all have football directors. He's not going to have that control.
No.
And I think that's one of the reasons, Mark, he could stay at Celtic, Mark, because he has that control.
I totally agree with you, Paul. And even to that, if we do bring in a director of football, and I still think we need one, but I'd like to have Ange have like input on the process, because they've got to work together.
Exactly.
But it shouldn't be Ange's choice. No, but I mean, it should be the club's choice, because the director of football's the kind of constant. The director of football and the backroom staff, they're the constant. A coach or manager can leave and it doesn't upset the apple cart as much as it does with, like what happened with Rodgers when the full back team squad stuff
exactly.
off. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. You know, that's...
I mean, I think, I'm not saying the new or that, but, and we've said it before, the fans did retire, but did no retire, like, want to step down from managing when he gets a wee bit older, offer him a director of football's role at Celtic. But you're talking about maybe these clubs in England offering him a manager's role. I'd be more worried, Paul, in a couple of years if clubs started offering him a director of football role.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Do you know what I mean?
Do you think, though, looking now...
Hold on the new, Paul. Here, just see that with Joseph.
Mm-hmm.
Right, hail boys, parkhead's far too small capacity wise. There should never be a waiting list for season ticket. Fans will get fed up and waiting to move on. There's plenty of empty seats yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
But there's plenty of empty seats at every game. The thing is that these guys are buying season tickets.
Did I see something, Mark?
They don't turn up for they're not turning up for games.
There was a fella talking on Twitter. He was some Celtic fan, Mark. He was just talking about Twitter, and he says a lot of clubs down in England and across Europe do a ticket exchange thing. That if
The
you're
Ibrox team do it, Paul.
Yeah, that you can sell your ticket for that game, but it goes to the season ticket holder, not the club, is it? Or does it go to the club? I don't know what way it works.
No, I think the season ticket holder gets some money.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, should we be doing something like that, Mark?
Aye, 1,000,000%, Paul. Me and Steph were talking about it last week when we came from Hampden. We were talking about... We started off talking about, like, you see that wee Spears Celtic guy on Twitter, you see them advertising, like, any Spears, I've got Spears, blah, blah, blah. And we're talking about, like, do you take money off of somebody if you're giving them your season ticket? Do you know what I mean? It's like, see, like when I had my season ticket, if I wasn't going to the game, I just gave it. Do you know what I mean? Whoever wanted to go to the game and didn't have a ticket, I gave them it. I didn't want any money for it. But some folk charge you for it, which it's their ticket. They're entitled to do it. But I've never done it. But even yesterday, there was guys on that Spears Celtic, meet me at the grunt. And this is a cup game, so this is people that have actually bought tickets, Paul, and they've no turned up. Do you know what I mean? This is like you need to buy a separate ticket for yesterday's game in the cup, but it's not covered with your season ticket. And there was guys giving them away free outside and stuff like that, according to that wee Spears Celtic guy. So I keep saying, see if Celtic did build a bigger stadium, it would be like if we completed like the old South stand to make it full bowl. We fill it for European games and derby games. That's it. I mean, that's it. The rest of the time, Celtic's no filling their stadium, Paul. There's always empty seats at Celtic Park.
There is. It's just, Mark, you don't see them when it's packed, but there is empty seats there. Do you know what I mean?
Aye.
William says, I would hope Big Ange would put her house in order before he leaves. Don't see him leaving us. I would think so.
That's what I mean when I said about the contract, Paul. I think we know he wears his heart on his sleeve. I don't know if he can say that. Cause a spade. Can you say that these days? I don't know.
Yeah.
Aye. It just says what he feels. So I think the year-old contract thing is just a thing. He's like, look, I'm here. If I've got problems, I'll come to you. I don't. But William's saying there, he's not going to just turn up, David, like a Rodgers done, sneak out the back door in the middle of the night. Do you know what I mean? He's put himself. He's a forward man. He's a trustworthy man. So he's telling the board, look, I'll not do that. I'll not leave you in the lurch. But everything will be all right if I'm ever going to leave here. It'll never be like that. It'll never be for one day. Do you know what I mean? Like for the day tomorrow and I'm leaving, it'll be like a long process and that. I think he's that type of man. He wouldn't do that. I mean,
I think he sees, Mark, that
a man of honour, that's it, Alec.
Like, I think, Mark, he sees that he's building something at Celtic, you know, and he wants to leave a legacy there, not leave something that's on bad terms or stuff like that. You know, I wouldn't think he'd be
it's like Kyogo, right? I mean, I've said I don't think Kyogo will leave Celtic
as long as Ange is there.
Aye, and then see when he does leave, I think he'll just basically go back to Japan. Unless, and this is the same with Ange, Paul, unless it's a life-changing type of offer. I mean, I honestly can't see, they're talking about, Everton are sniffing about him and West Ham are sniffing about him and stuff like that. Why would Ange gear up the chance to manage the Champions League? As you said, Paul, he's got full control of the club, basically, the footballing side of things. In the Champions League, winning trophies, Celtic, a big, massive worldwide known club, to go and struggle in England with West Ham or Everton. And as we've said, every manager in England, apart from like the top ones like your Klopps and that, they're 6 games for the sack.
Exactly.
And at that level of club, Ange would just be the same, because they clubs and they fans down there when they give him any time.
You know, that's the problem, Mark, with everything at the moment. Like, just the wrong people in the wrong positions. Like,
but it's the time. Nobody. See if Ange was doing in England, right? And say next season, he went. Just say he left in the summer, went down to Everton, right? Come after his first 10 games. See if he's not sitting in the top half of the table. He's under serious pressure for fans, the media, and everything.
Yeah,
another couple of dodgy decisions, and that's him maybe out of job again.
Exactly.
Honestly, I can understand it for the money kind of thing, and just even maybe. But if I was a manager, the Premier League doing in England is, unless you're up there with your Man Uniteds or Liverpools and Man City, it's a slog. You're just waiting on the sack. That's so it is. You're just waiting on the sack.
When they said to him about a bigger club, or when they asked him about the interviews and stuff like that, where he says, "Look, I'm not a bigger club, mate. You know what I mean? There's no other club bigger than Celtic, man. Do you know what I mean? I'm not a big club. Do you know what I mean? I'm not a Champions League club. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, that's
a club that's backing them.
Yeah.
That would be another thing, Paul. Maybe it would drive him out. And I'm not bringing this up because I'm not getting into Peter Lawwell. Peter Lawwell has got nothing at all to do with any decisions Ange is making. But if the club weren't backing them, I think that would maybe change it. Maybe say, "Oh, this is maybe not going the way we thought it was going to go." But as long as the club's backing them, I don't see any problem with Ange. As I said, unless Barcelona or PSG or something like that come champing the door.
I know, Mark, that the reason this Chung Sung deal didn't go through is because Peter Lawwell's back in the thing. But this is the player himself who has doubts.
Aye.
Celtic have made 3 separate bids to get this player to Celtic. Do you know what I mean? We can't do no more, Mark. Do you know what I mean?
And not one of the bids, Paul, was anything at all to do with Peter Lawwell.
No.
I mean, that's the thing. I mean, see the thing about it, but Paul, that was right. See, although it's just what is it you would call it? What is it? It's more like a kind of honorary position, isn't it?
Yeah, Mark. He's like,
that's what I would kind of say. Peter Lawwell's doing.
You know what? It's like a role, Mark, for me that they gave him, like non-executive chairman, is like, thank you for your service role. Do you know what I mean? What you did for the club, like all these board meetings and.
Aye, that's the actual, Paul. That's the telltale sign. He's a non-executive.
Yeah,
that's what tells you that he's not getting any.
Yeah.
You might have power as in like he's got an opinion, because Peter Lawwell's a man that's got an opinion on. He's like me. He's got an opinion on everything. Do you know what I mean? He likes to be heard. But when it comes down to the nitty gritty, Peter Lawwell's got nothing at all to do with any who Celtic signing, how much it's costing them, who nothing at all to do with that. But it's been a PR disaster because of that, Paul, because everybody knew. I mean, we all joked about it, didn't we? Surely Celtic aren't going to bring him back as chairman. We joked about it, and then they did. And it's the PR, because as soon as he got appointed to that was it. The first wee thing, everything that's gone wrong. Brian put it up in the live chat there earlier on. He says, "I'm surprised Peter Lawwell's not getting the blame of the grass." I mean, that's what it's like. Or everything that's good to know. Ange we trust, and everything that's bad to know is Peter Lawwell.
Celtic went on the advice of this so-called expert honest in Brendan Rodgers. Do you know what I mean? Like, we went by him. This was his recommendation for this pitch. Like, do you know what I mean?
Aye. I mean, and we went with the best company.
Yeah, exactly.
Even is that your wee Steph? Is that my wee furry friend? Even Steph. my wee wicket. I know there, Joseph, again, going on about, if you're going to join a Super League or that, I mean, if Celtic were playing the likes of Barcelona, Real Madrid, Man United, Chelsea, Juventus, week in and week out, it would be bursting at the seams. And that's when you can maybe look at extending like your stadium and stuff like that. But as I said, we're only filling the stadium as it is a few times a season. When them Ibrox were doing the divisions, we were shutting the stands. Do you know what I mean? The tap stands in Celtic Park were shut off.
Jesus Christ.
Do you know what I mean? So they can't. These fans that when you see them like, I couldn't get a ticket and this and that. Well,
Mark, what's this hotel now that we've got planned permission for in this museum? What's this about?
I think there's more chance of Rangers building that hotel back in the day, that floating pitch thing they were going to build back in the day in Muir with the hotel, they know.
The only thing floating in Rangers at the moment is going to be the fucking toilets.
There's something, I don't, the thing, mind there was a plan, there's plans in with the Glasgow Council. It's meant to be that everything's settled on it, but there's no work being done. But then something came out last week or the week before, and there's something they're trying to build. I don't know if it's anything to do with Celtic or no, Paul, but it seems to be some kind of concert hall that they're trying to build, but it'll be like in the area, like the Celtic Park area, but I'm not sure if that's anything to do with Celtic.
But you know this hotel now, right? Like all the bookings and stuff like that, like will that be income to the club if it's the club?
Aye.
You know?
Aye. Well, it'll probably find it'll be like a different actual branch of the Celtic company tree, do you know what I mean? Because Celtic Hotels PLC or something and things like that. But
this could be another way Mark of getting more revenue into the club in and around fair play.
Aye. Anything you're making money off, you'll be allowed to use that.
To clear this club ordinance, Denmark, do you know what I mean? Because that's what it's about.
There, Alex saying if it's part of the PLC.
Yeah, if it's part of the PLC, Mark, that's income. Like, geez, like the plans I saw on Twitter, like it looks fancy. Like if that's the thing they're going with, like, and they're supposed to build this kind of a state-of-the-art museum and stuff like that, Mark. Like, is there not a museum in Celtic or something already? Or it's like a trophy room or something.
There's a trophy room there's a trophy room but there's no like an out-and-out museum kind of thing, no.
But that'd be great. Like you see all the little jerseys, Mark, and stuff like that up, like to go in there. Like, do you know what I mean? And you know, any young lad going over to Celtic, Mark, like to see that. Would we? But when it happens, the other question, then, Mark, do you know what I mean? If you're saying there's no work being done,
I mean,
like, I'd like them to get the pitch sorted, Mark, before we do anything in the hotel.
I mean, that should have been going for a few years now, Paul. The initial plans were put in. I think they were put in early on in Brendan Rodgers' time, I think, if I mind right, Paul.
Mm-hmm.
And nothing, and there was a bit of some, like the usual stuff with planning permission back and forth between Celtic and the council, but the plans have been finalised as far as I know, but there's been no mention or nothing since about any actual work starting or anything.
Your recent trips, Mark, to Celtic Park, like in your opinion, seeing it, like what's the stadium like at Celtic? Like, is it up to date or dated? Does it need improvements or is it in good condition?
Aye, it's a wee bit dated, Paul. It's 20-odd year old now, do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But as far as it could always be doing improvement.
Mm-hmm.
Really, I mean, it could. It's always like that. I mean, I can remember going down to Old Trafford and getting in, and when we were getting in and going up the stairs, it was just like all these big pictures of players, moments in the history of Man United and stuff like that. And at the time, Celtic had nothing, and I was like, "Wow, that would be brilliant to see that at Celtic Park." And that, but behind the scenes, it's just I'll tell you, it's a million times better than Hampden. There is good wee bits in it. There's bits that kids can go play video games and stuff like that against each other. And the bit where we get in that, it's like the Green Brigade section, and that's all been painted.
I saw that, Mark.
That's
nice.
Aye, that's lovely. Aye,
you know what I mean?
That's really nice. All that painting and that stuff in that end.
That's actually a nice touch by the club to let them actually do up their section. Do you know what I mean?
Aye.
Is that something that maybe they should consider as a club? Is expand the standing area of the Green Brigade? Is that something you think maybe the club should consider?
No, I would like the Paul. They've got the Green Brigade, and then you've got the boys, right? The other ultra group, and See, the new they're a wee stuck away out my back corner. I would like to see them getting a standing section. See, like the other, the other side.
The side, yes.
So you've got two. See, if you're coming out the tunnel, you've got two standing sections right in either
So
corner, kind of thing.
The brigade and what's the others? The crowd? Did you say, sorry, Mark?
Just boys. The boys.
Oh, right. Never do that. No, sorry, never do that.
Aye.
You know,
They're a wee bit more. No, actually hardcore, but they're just a wee bit more. Maybe more political's the right way to put it, kind of thing. That kind of idea, do you know what I mean? But I mean, they make a fair amount of racket as well. So why not have like two opposite? As I say, the two corners at that big stand just starting the full place rocking.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just going to work its way outwards, both directions, and get the full stadium going.
Exactly. You know.
But I mean, Paul, actually, the area running about Celtic Park, if I first was going to Celtic Park, is like night and day. Even in the last 20 years, 15 years, Paul, I mean, running about Celtic Park was a shithole. There was flats, and I swear, and there was these flats, Paul, and I swear to God, I can never mind them having windies. They were always, no, they were bored. I don't mean they were boarded up. For as long as I can remember,
empty houses kind of a thing, like, yeah.
Aye, was it Dalriada Street or Dalriada, something it was called? It was like a wee side street, because it's where we used to go to hide for the police so we could drink Macquarie out. And it was just these shithole abandoned like blocks of flats and
Yeah, you said it's a shithole.
Honest to God, and then across the road, man, there was these, just honest to God, it was just shitholes. They're all saying it's slums.
You used to get a bogging on the way to the place.
Bogging. Dirty, that means dirty. Getting dirty and muck. Getting covered in muck and splashes and puddle. Oh, honestly, man, it was just absolutely fucking stinking, man. Barking.
Oh my God, I would have loved to sing that. Jesus Christ.
There'll be pictures about it, Paul.
It must have taken your motherfucking weeks back to get the muck off your body, I say. Well, that here grown up, Mark.
Stephanie was like a dog could be rolling in a puddle.
It was in first class and he see the full grown bears in the fucking.
The full area, the complete full area. See somebody there'll be guys in the chat and that, and they'll tell you, see, depending when their dad died, see if they could take their dad in the new and show them Celtic, or show them pictures of places without showing them Celtic Park, and say they wouldn't say, see if you said that's across the road for that big velodrome, that's across the road for Celtic Park, but like, that'll be right. Do you know, that's how bad the full area was, Paul.
Brian said he went to games with his wellies on his boots.
Aye.
Man, fucking hell, but you know. And is there parking now in Celtic Park? Like, is there somewhere you can park your car now, or?
There's a bit just next to that you can park on, but I don't know if it's I think it's a first come first serve.
Yeah, I said
but
that.
The actual car parks like in the ground, you need like a permit and stuff like that for.
Mm-hmm. It's like that's probably people.
Paul, I don't know any fitbag run that's get good parking facilities. Do you know what I mean?
They kind of don't, Mark, because they're all kind of built up in kind of city areas. Anyway, they don't have that. And they like the ground that they buy, you want to maximise the size of your stadium. But if you want to the car park, it's going to take down that.
See what I'm talking about, right? See, right across the road for the wee fucking bit that was on the left hand side, but right across the road was these this big, massive, long block of flats. It was honking, right? But beside it, was behind that was like a big massive grass field. I don't even know if that's still there, to be honest. But that was where people used to park. And that's where you used to get the wee guys and that. 50 pence to watch your motor, mate. And if you didn't give me 50 pence, you get back and your window was smashed and your 2-in-1 was away. Do you know or your tyres were let down or something like that?
You were just better off giving that 50
Aye.
Yeah.
50, and then it went up to £1. And then it actually right, and this is God's gospel, God's honest truth, Paul. It became, see at Celtic Park and at Ibrox, and it was gangsters that were running that. There was gangsters in Glasgow that were running the young boys looking after their motors that were making that much money off it.
Jesus, man. Unbelievable, boy. You know, it's probably Rangers Football Club. Sorry for talking about gangsters, is it?
They bus guys. It was
You
the
know,
bus, the
I
McGills.
saw him come up with a few good comments again, actually, Mark, that he's coming out about Celtic spending spree again. You know, that aren't spent more than Stephen Gerrard did in 3 years. That Stephen Gerrard, like, will he just stop and concentrate on his own club? Do you know what I mean? Fuck you.
That's what he's got to talk about. Oh,
You
he
know?
talks about Celtic. We should
Yeah.
get him on here. He knows more about Celtic than me Celtic fans know.
No, we won't be able to hear him because the mall will be blocking the sound.
Mole Gunnar Solskjaer.
Jesus Christ, man, it's getting.
But even when he talks, he's like a kind of poor man's Danny Dyer, that kind of thing.
Yeah, do you know what now, Mark? I really hope now, right, from now until the 26th of February, right, we've no injuries.
There you go, Paul.
And we give them a pumping. What's that?
They're
No,
phallic, yeah.
have a Rottweiler in the car. Can your Rottweiler put on fire? Jesus Christ, man. Fucking hell, man. You know? Jesus, that's what I'm hoping, Mark, that we give them a thumping.
Aye, to shut him up.
Yeah, shut him up, Mark, and put him back in his box, Mark, because they were lucky against an average Celtic team, Mark, that we had a lot of injury, not injuries, but viruses through the squad. Players were playing when they shouldn't have been playing, really. Do you know what I mean? You know?
Aye.
You know?
See, the thing about it, no, it would be quite, I said earlier on, I wanted them out the cup kind of earlier on, but see if we get to Hampden and we win the Scottish Cup, know what Anne should say. That manager at that other team inherited the Scottish Cup and he's just lost it.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, because he's I inherited this 9-point gap and that as if he would have made things any better.
You know, oh my God, man, he's just painful, but
they love that.
Yeah,
that's what we spoke about. They love this kind of, and as Chief, I keep saying this, Paul. We don't act like that. And see if Rangers as a club started acting a bit more like Celtic, it would be for the better of the Scottish football.
But they can't.
But their fans won't accept that.
No.
Do you know what I mean? It's like Van Bronckhorst. I still maintain Van Bronckhorst is a good coach. You don't win the league for the first time in years with Feyenoord down Holland if you're not a good coach. But they should never have took that job. The place is a shithole of a place. There's no long planning over there, Paul.
Tourists that were on Twitter, Mark, and they thought it was a shopping centre.
Aye.
The fella thought it was Ibrox Stadium. They thought it was a shopping centre outside because of all the blue. They thought it was a shopping centre. It just looks shocking with all the blue and everything, don't it? It looks a horrible stadium, you know what I mean?
But see what we're talking about, Paul. See if they took time and listened to Van Bronckhorst and let him build. I maybe have been in the doldrums again for another couple of years, but for me it would have worked. It would have turned. Van Bronckhorst would have turned that round. Mm-hmm. If they'd listened to him. He's not. I mean, he was a top player, as I said. He's won the league in Holland and that. So listen to him and they've done it with Advocaat, backed him to the halt with this kind of Dutch model. So why not do it with Van Bronckhorst? But the fans wouldn't accept that because he's too nice a guy. That's basically what it was.
So ego, no,
he met Ange for a coffee. They met Ange in that cafe, and they were in an uproar that a Rangers manager was talking to a Celtic manager in a coffee shop.
The same with Sands and Kingsman that time when the American coach was over and they were all sitting down having dinner. Do you remember that before the World Cup?
Aye, and Beale's just getting back to your kind of tub thumping. Do you know what I mean? No one likes us. We are the people type of attitude. And they'll eat that up. Do you know what? It was like Charles Green. I mean, Charles Green was a smart guy. He came in and said the right things to get their marms to make him money.
Yeah, he put his name forward for the Poland's manager job, Mark, right?
Aye.
And he had interviews and everything, and they came out there, I think, yesterday. Poland won't be going to Stephen Gerrard because they feel he doesn't have enough experience as a manager to manage the team. That's what they came out and said. He didn't have enough experience.
Can you imagine him getting into the dressing room? Right, Paul, you know a wee bit of Polish, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
Right, say something in Polish.
Anything
about something about football.
Fuck, am I supposed to know about something?
No, you say something in Polish and kid on, it's a bit fit by then.
I said,
Jesus, but there's no I forgot to know.
fucking Vonica's mum, dad are probably downstairs laughing, going, what the fuck is he trying to say?
Aye, but it's like, imagine getting in, right,
The skulls
get
of
in-
voice in him, yeah.
getting into a Polish dressing room with all these Polish players that probably can speak English, I know a lot of them and that, and then you've got Steve and Jerry walking again. Well,
And blaming
that's
them then.
drawl, do you know what I mean?
Blaming them. Arsenal have signed a nice Polish centre-back, Mark Hoiver. He's going to sign with them there tomorrow. He's 21. And he's supposed to be unbelievable, boys. Unbelievable.
What's his name?
Hoiver, Kwior, Jakob Hoiver. He's signed with them tomorrow. He was in the stands there today. He's supposed to be the next kind of top player coming out of the team. You know,
he's a big lumpy boy as well, isn't he?
Yeah, he's 20.
Plays for Birmingham. No, is that a different guy?
No, it's Kwior, Jakob Hoiver, Arsenal.
Oh, right, I've got him now. Aye.
21, Mark, and they paid, I think it's nearly 28 million for him.
Oof.
You know, they're another club actually, Mark. Much as I hate him, they're back in.
Oh, aye.
Aren't they?
Aye. I don't mind Arteta. I know you were going on about him earlier on. You don't like his style and that, but considering here one for you, right? You'll see, right? I don't know if this is true, and I'm not saying it's true or nothing, but I was talking to somebody a few weeks ago, and I was saying to them that I don't mind Arteta, right? And then a couple of days after it, somebody else we were talking about him again, and he told me, he said that see when Celtic were going for Ronnie Dyler, they spoke to Arteta.
Wow.
I don't know, and as I say, I don't know if that's true. It was one of the kind of, it wasn't a reliable guy that told me, somebody if he told me, I trust him, it's a guy that just get pick up wee bits of gossip and that for you kind of thing. So it might be true, it might not be, but he says that Celtic spoke to Arteta about taking the Celtic job.
Mm.
And, but if he's part of that Man City group, Paul, they might very well have done it. Do you think you would have?
Would
you think your fans would have reacted to that?
I said, Mark, they'd be up, Robo.
That's what I said. I said even Peter Law wouldn't have had the audacity to pull a stroke like that. I don't think.
The thing I don't like, Mark, is the way he conducts himself in the sideline. I just don't. I think he gives a very lack of respect to other managers. If this doesn't go his way, he's up to the referee. Like he got booked now again today for, like, and you see Jurgen Klopp getting sent off for his behaviour. Why isn't Arteta? You know what I mean? It's just Hun behaviour, right? That's what it is.
How long was he there?
You know? What?
How long did he spend there?
Who?
I mean, how long did he spend at Ibrox? You can't.
Whole season, I say, yeah, but Mark, once 100, always 100 in my eyes, right? You know what I mean? Jeez. You know?
Not 2 years he was there. I mean, he's played 50 games for them, and they go on about him as if he's a legend in that.
Well, he was only about 20.
He was only young, aye.
Young lad, wasn't he?
Aye.
You know, well, still a Hun. He'll always be a fucking Hun. You know, I wouldn't. I don't know, man.
A Catholic Hun, but.
You know, yeah, the Catholic.
You know what I mean?
It's a Catholic bastard then when he leaves. You know what I mean? I think that's the best. Like, you know what I mean?
Spanish Catholic Hun bastard.
What did I see the other day? Some fella was on Twitter and it was actually who was this? It was Tillemans, blessed himself, Mark, before he came onto the pitch. Tillsman, is that what they call him? Is it Tillsman? Is it their player? Is it?
I know who you're talking. Aye.
And he blessed himself before, and they said the club want to tell him he needs to stop that before he comes onto the pitch. Do you know what I mean? That's the carry on you're dealing with, Mark. Do you know what I mean? You know.
But I mean, it's been on for years. Catholic players. I mean, Catholic players used to get told here, if you want to do that, you can do that in the dressing room. Don't be doing it out in the park.
Yeah, but
how can you actually turn up to your work every day and put up with that? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but Morales Dermark is South American. Most of South Americans are Catholics. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? It's just he's a fat Catholic.
Hi, Julian. Nice to join us.
No wonder there's
Mikey was on in the chat earlier on. I don't know, Barry's not really heard much from Barry in a while. That's how I've no Paul. Maybe drop Barry a message and see what's happening with him.
Who's Barry? Barry Sutherland?
No. Iceman.
I haven't heard from Barry Mark in...
Neither have I, just when he used to drop me the odd message in that. I'll need to hit him up with one as well.
I haven't, we have to get him on. Actually, I haven't seen how he's just busy. Like the last time we think back, he seems to be kind of walking all over.
He works in the National Health Service.
You know what I mean? So he's always unpredictable like that. You know, that's what they are. Tough games coming up now, Mark. Next 2 games, like Livingston away as well on the Wednesday. Like that's always a tough game, you know. But Ange has broken the duck there, like so.
I'm not even that worried about that either, to be honest now, Paul. Do you know what I mean?
You know, no, that's like I'm saying, Mark. Like the games are coming thick. Like we're still in our 3 trophies. Like the games are coming thick and fast. Like you're playing nearly 3 games a week now. Like you know what I mean?
Aye.
You know? And it's good that we actually have 2 players for kind of every position, really. Like in this, you know.
Aye. That squad, Paul. I mean, fair dues. We Taylor. I'm not saying who was it said the left back's the weakest position kind of thing. It's just by Taylor being out injured and out. Byrne needs to play. He's maybe not quite up to speed. Apart from that,
I don't think Ange Mark would have be expecting to give Barnaby this amount of game time. Like he kind of wanted to breed him into the team.
Aye.
You know,
it's just an emergency. It's like what we're saying if Kyogo or Giacomakis get injured.
Jeez, my God, by Jesus Christ, man.
Well, Giacomakis will probably be, but do you know what I mean? You're going to have to put somebody. You're going to have to put somebody in. You're maybe not fully trusting in that position.
Yeah.
Just hope they can do a job for you.
The only one Mark comfortable Mark to fit in there actually really is Abada. You know, that'll be the only person I would actually trust to go in there. You know,
left back.
It's no up if Kyogo or
right. Wondering what you were talking about there.
You know, I wonder Mark.
Alex saying Taylor might be back for the Dundee game. Alex,
you think so? Could Vallison play over that side?
I don't see how no, Paul.
Do you know what I mean? You don't.
As I said, in an emergency against, I mean, again, I wouldn't like to pitch him in against in the Champions League game in that position, but in certain game, I don't see why no.
And also, just before we go, if G Marcus goes, we're like we know anyway we're in for strikers between these 2. Like you know, there seems to be no one else there. But would you think that's our business done, Denmark? You know, or O'Reilly was kind of sprung as a surprise to us.
No, I think it'll be Gio's replacement, Paul, and that'll be us done.
That'll be us done. I think it'd be more outgoings than ingoings.
Aye.
And
I think if there was going to be any more incomings, Paul, they would maybe have already been done.
Yeah.
That's how I think it's just this strikers, it's the either or the 2. Do you know what I mean? Whatever Joe says. If Joe says no, it's going to be the Korean guy, and if Joe says aye, it'll be him. I think that's what it will be, and that'll be us done.
You know, yeah, because he's got his man.
Incomings.
He's got Owasa and Kobayashi. They're the 2 main fellas he wanted. Like you know, and maybe he wanted a striker, Mark, but he was planning to go for a striker in September. Like this G Marcus team was kind of sprung on us then. Like you know, that we kind of have to act in it. Like, but. You know,
the squad. I mean, I'll even say this by the way, Paul. See the actual squad. I've canny. Oh no, there is. Obviously it's needing a bit trimmed in that, but the actual basic to the main squad, Paul, the players that are getting involved in match days and that. I can't remember, Paul. It's well balanced.
Yeah, exactly.
And quality squad through the full squad, Paul. There's quality. It really is. I mean, even getting back to Martin O'Neill, the kind of basis of players. There was a lot of no very good players that get game time just to make up the squad numbers and that, which is fair enough. But the actual size of Celtic squad, the quality in it, they're having 2 players for every position. There's some players in that Celtic team, Paul, that can maybe play 3, 4 different positions.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know what I mean? Either anywhere across that front three, or maybe an attacking midfielder, or do you know what, that kind of thing. So for the personnel in the squad and the balance in the squad, I think it's one of the best squads I've seen at Celtic in a long time.
Alex is saying this is the squad to take us into the next Champions League campaign. Mark, you happy with the squad for the next Champions League campaign? See how we do? Because I think these players need that second season of Champions League to prove on last season, because it was so much of a disappointment, Mark. Do you know?
So you wouldn't sign anybody in the summer then, Al?
Do you know, Mark? Yeah, that's just the problem. Like, I think there's still,
Aye.
Mark. I think Mark, discussions have already been done because he said in the summer.
Oh, Angel already know who he's planning on signing.
Exactly.
Aye.
You know what I mean? Like, January was done in the summer. They knew January's targets.
Aye.
Do you know what I mean? He was waiting on for the season to finish in Japan before going to get Kobayashi and Iwata. Do you know what I mean? You know, all we need now is just grass. That's the next fucking thing. You know, Jesus, it is though, Mark.
I know a guy.
Yeah, see, everyone knows a guy who said that. It wouldn't be.
But I know what you mean. But I mean, again, Paul, we're talking about who's going to leave in the summer.
You know, Mark,
so I think maybe that's going to be a big kind of factor.
I'm afraid to think of it, Mark. But I'm afraid, but really am. I think, Mark, because we're playing so well, Mark, there could be bids coming for Jota. There could be bids coming for Bada, Vickers. Do you know what I mean?
Aye.
You know, I'm afraid to think of it, but because I'm hearing teams already sniffing around the Bada. Do you know what I mean?
But Paul, see, as long as you pay the going rate, it's no. The Abada one was the one that kind of worried me when we looked up with the Mackay situation. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly, Mark. Yeah, is he hung up in that deal? Like, do you know what I mean?
I don't know how that's going to go, but
I think, as far as I know, anyway, Mark, at the moment, what I'm hearing is it's Giacomarcas, McCarthy, and Ivanovic, but Abada was signed as well in the wrong that time when Dominic McKay was there, like.
And somebody mentioned that so was Carter Vickers, but mind that was a loan, so his contract would have been looked at when we finalised that loan deal.
Jabba, no one wants your type of grass, right? No, you can't even come on the fucking radio with your type of grass. You know, yeah, Mark, I'm not even, you know, I don't know anything about it, Mark. I really don't,
even no matter who goes, Paul, do you know what I mean? It's all banter with preaching, man, and Andrew Trust. We go like, better, we get better.
Know, like, in Andrew Trust, like Mark, but they're big boots to fill in Vickers, though, aren't they?
Aye. That would Abada you could probably take, Paul. Because he's a great player and he is only going to get better if we do keep him, but he's probably there's probably 100 young players out there that we could replace. Do you know what I mean? Replace Bada way kind of thing. But Carter Vickers would be a big.
It's just the impact.
He's a rock.
It's just the impact he had on that defence, Mark, as a whole. Do you know what I mean? You know, he seems to be, as you said, he's the rock of the defence. Do you know what I mean?
Aye.
You know, and not just him as a player.
But saying that as well, Paul, I've said that a few weeks ago, as long as Carter Vickers was playing, the defence looked solid. But I know, again, look at the quality we're playing, a fair dues, but I don't think he's been missed as much by the way Kobayashi's just slotted in there. Do you know what I mean?
No, Mark. If Vickers is not fit to be playing, right, it's going to be a good test for Kobayashi up against the physique of Fletcher, Stephen Fletcher, because he likes to get on top of the defenders. He likes these high balls. Do you know what I mean? He likes to be on top of your centre backs. I mean, that's the type of player he is.
Aye, that's Starfelt's job to mark the guys.
Yeah, you know, and do you know what, Mark? Starfelt didn't have the best of starts up against these players either, but he learned how to deal with them, and now Starfelt has one of the best interceptions rate in the country.
Aye.
You know, like, people are always questioning Starfelt. Look at the stats. Look at Starfelt's stats, Mark. Like, he
does the job that he's there to do.
Exactly. He's not there to be running up and down the line or like I don't want my defenders doing what Ayer did, what fucking Julian did. I want my defence to clear the ball, Mark, and that's it. And they're
But to the same extent, Paul, you see what Ayer done? But Ayer still needed a big stopper beside him. Do you get what I mean? That's what you need. You need like a kind of big. I don't know why I call him a lump of wood, but it's like I keep saying that one of the perfect examples is Rio Ferdinand and Big Vidic.
Yeah, exactly.
You've got Big Vidic doing the blood and guts and slaughter side of the game.
John Terry and Carvalho, Mark, for Chelsea.
Aye. You've got to blend the kind of skill sets together to make a good centre-back partnership. And I think that Carter Vickers and Starfield have made a good centre-back partnership. And as you said, the stats don't lie and the trophies don't lie.
Alex is saying he can play that role, but he kind of said himself he doesn't like playing that role. Do you know what I mean? He likes to be more in front of the defence rather than being the defence. Do you get me?
But again, in an emergency,
there's players in there that can play different roles. Like, you know what I mean? Like I think the guy maybe no enjoy playing there as much as he does playing the CDM role, but it's his job to play for Celtic, and you do what you do, even if it's only for a few weeks to cover and stuff like that. So that's as long as you've got players that can do this kind of thing, there shouldn't really be much of a problem when it comes to wee niggly injuries that maybe guys need for a couple of weeks in that way, as much as it was when we really, I mean, look at Toby made his debut for Cork City yesterday.
Many did they let in?
No, we beat Limerick City, like Limerick now called Trees United. We beat him 3-0 and he was supposed to pull off good saves, Mark, but comfortable saves. Like he had, if his first game, Mark, he was comfortable there, like. You know?
Big job on his shite. Did they score any?
No, there's Mark. There's a fella.
See, that's no use, Paul.
Mark,
Man.
there's a fella here.
You need to start learning to pitch in with some goals.
I'll get his name now here, right? There's a young lad for Cork City, right? I'll just get him up there now, man. And this fella will be picked up either by an English team, and I don't know. I'd like to see Celtic, if Celtic going to have their scouts over. You know, like they kind of keep an eye on the progress of their loan players, Mark.
Aye.
You know, that's this fella will catch the eye. He's Tundai Olorambi for Cork City, he's a striker. Your man is banging in goals, Mark. He's unbelievable. He's only a young fella, like, you know. He came from Ballincollig in Cork City. Came through there, like, being like fucking the youth system, Mark, over in Scotland, like the lower leagues, like, you know what I mean?
Aye.
Just given a chance then by
What's his name?
Tundai Ololambi. So it's Tunde, right? OWOLABI.
Right.
I'll send you on to you, Mark. Like, keep an eye on this fella. This fella is going to get picked up. Like,
he's 27.
Is he 27? Is he? But he came through our youth leagues, didn't he? I know he's foreign. He's not Irish.
He's for Belgium.
Belgium, yeah. But this fella, fuck, Mark, he's banging in the goals for us, man. I'm looking forward to this season, boy. You know, they have a good. Cork City have a good team, like. You know, that's what we do. You know, but it's always tough, Denmark, for a team to come up, like from a first division. Do you know what I mean? And compete then in the Premier League. Then again, like, it's always tough when. There's not much money, really, in the Irish football. Do you know what I mean?
Do you ever spend any money on players as like transfer fees?
Yeah, the club only got bought now by a bit like Cork City was always kind of owned by the supporters, Mark, when they went kind of bust there kind of a few years back. The supporters bought the club, and this year now, do you ever hear of that Sonia bathrooms? No. It's like a business brand here in Ireland, Mark, and he's after buying the club now, only in the last couple of weeks, and this fella's kind of putting money kind of into Cork City that we wouldn't have had, Do you know what I mean? You know?
Aye.
So like he knows, like this fella knows he's not going to make money out of Cork City, but he's a local businessman that wants to see
Aye, well,
Cork
he's
City do well, right?
bankroll him a wee bit,
Yeah.
like that guy that done with Gretna.
Yeah.
I
Do you know what I
hope, I hope it doesn't go that way, but I know that's
mean?
kind of the idea.
The fella from Preston was trying to buy us for years, Mark. Preston North End were trying to buy Celtic for years. And what happened was the deal was done last season, right? The deal was done, but Cork City don't own their own stadium. They kind of they lease the Munster Senior League stadium. Do you get me? That's Turner's
Right.
Cross, the Munster. And they wanted to buy the stadium as well as Cork City. So they'll be to invest in the stadium then. But the Munster Senior League won't sell it to them. And that's how the deal collapsed.
The money's in the land, Paul, into it with
Yeah,
these kind of clubs that haven't
exactly.
got much money, and then
So that's how
five year time you build flats on it and blow the football team out into it.
Yeah, you know, so like that's like I think Cork City holds about 12,000 mark, which is good for a League of Ireland team. Like,
Aye.
you know, it's not a fucking professional league, Mark. But look, it's your local league, and you kind of
It's like khakis. It's like khakis. You've always got a kind of soft spot for your local team.
It's grand as well, though. Like, you know, when some days there, like you fucking nothing to do there on a Friday night, and the only thing I don't like, though, like I don't like this summer football. Do you know what I mean?
Aye.
You know, like it's going on during the summer, but
Aye. People that come up and say, "Oh, Scotland should do that." That's a lot
no,
of
I
nonsense,
don't like it, Mark. It just doesn't seem.
You feel as if you're on the outside of the real football,
like
don't you?
it seems amateur league. Do you know what I mean?
Aye, it's as if
football calendar. Do you get me?
Aye, we're just like been covering when there's nothing else on. People will watch us, so
exactly.
that's where we'll play. Aye,
that's in the weather. But then they were saying like when the matches used to be on the weekends, and if Cork City were playing on a Sunday, and Manchester United and Manchester City were on Sky Sports, people are going to stay at home.
Aye.
Sky Sports, do you get me? So that's same with the 3 p.m. kickoffs, Mark, like them not being televised. Like, you know what I mean? If they're being televised, they're saying. But I think, Mark, that would probably change now. I don't think would there be much change now if Celtic were playing at 3:00 on a Saturday and being televised? Would people stay at home, or would they still go to the match? Would it affect the lower teams more than?
Depending on the weather, Paul.
Yeah.
A lot of attendance at any kind of outdoor event.
Like, would that affect Ham's attendance if Celtic was on the telly on Saturday?
Aye, probably. Aye.
Yeah, see, that's why they don't do it then, isn't it?
Aye. That's why that rule that we've got that rule in the UK, Paul.
Yeah.
It's not just Scotland. That's the UK wide thing.
Oh,
do you know what I mean?
Like, because like we're all connected to Sky Sports, like here, like, do you know what I mean? So it's the same rule here. You're not going to give unless you have, how would you say, a dodgy box, like, you know what I mean?
No,
you know.
Do you? No, you can get Celtic TV official, Paul.
No, we can't. No, it's UK and Ireland. I can't.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I can't log into Celtic TV. I can only get audio.
Oh, right. I didn't know that, Paul. I thought it was just like
because I went to buy
part of the UK. Aye.
We went to buy it there. I think it was at the start of last season. Ivanovic actually wanted to buy for me as a present.
Aye. No point, but is it if you're not getting the games?
All it was audio. That it's UK and Ireland. It's not registered anywhere outside the UK and Ireland. You can get it.
I didn't know that. I thought the Republic could get it because they were outside the UK.
You know, and like Ireland is outside the UK.
Aye. But even then, I mean, see, probably, Paul, see, like the actual like weird teams.
That's Ian Banker, no, by the Honda he is, still thinking Ireland's part of the UK, the bastard.
But see, like all the weird teams in Scotland, there's probably a certain percentage of the fans that if Celtic or Rangers were on, or even Man United were live on, or so and so at 3:00, they wouldn't go to, like say, Accies, Kilmarnock. And the further down you get down the divisions, Paul, the numbers that would stay in the house would outweigh the numbers that would go to the game. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get you now.
It's just because they go to watch, instead of just sitting in the house getting under their wife's feet watching shite on the telly, they'll go to the local wee game like Albion Rovers or something up in Coatbridge. Whereas if Man United's on the telly, they say to the wife here, Fitball's on, I'm watching the telly the day.
Yeah, but wait, no, right? For people who I mentioned to this you already, Mark, like it will come into effect next season. It won't come into next season, but next season when Viaplay have the cup games, we will be charged for some of them. You know,
But we're getting charged for them now.
oh, but it's going to be pay-per-view then, Mark, honest.
But is there no pay-per-view already?
Not at the moment, no. Like, no, so when Premier Sports had it, you buy Premier Sports as the package, right?
Aye.
And you watch the matches, yeah. But what Viaplay do, right, they'll start showing the first couple of rounds free of charge. But then when you get into the quarterfinals, the semi-finals, you have to, it's like box office, Mark, television. You pay extra then to watch the game. Do you get me?
Right, aye.
So you're paying extra on
That's
your own.
it's like you're paying your Sky bill, but then you're paying for
box office.
to
Then,
watch
yeah.
another. Aye.
That's how they make their money. Then, like they'll pay you extra for that. You know what I mean? You know, don't talk about your MILF TV, you fecker. You know, getting caught there last week. Is Jack listening? Is she?
No, she's not listening. No.
Getting caught there last week, you stupid fucking bastard. You know, Jesus Christ. You know,
Aye, well, these things are sent to try us, Paul.
I know, man.
You just put the headset on to see what we're talking about.
I pity poor when she comes to your house, man. She comes to me. No. That's what she meant. Poor when she even fucking know what's happening. Jesus Christ.
I've got to blame somebody, you know. I'm not taking the blame.
Like, it's, you know what? It's so believable that you would believe it. You get me? You know? No, that's what it is, right? It's actually so believable that you would believe it, like that it was him that did it, not you. Lads, we're going to let it there for tonight. Thanks for all of you joining us on the live chat. We tried to get in contact with the likes of Barry and Jonas and
Just
stuff like that.
Terrence's wee lad, he wasn't too well. He said if he'd got himself, they've come on. So obviously he's not got him done for the night. So hope the wee man's all right, Terrence, if you're listening or when you're listening back, bud.
Mark, we close the show.
Right, well, thanks very much, Paul. Everybody that listened in, everybody that listens back, we really appreciate it. As I've said, the links to everything, our forum, our Discord and that, it's on the description box below. You're all more than welcome to come and join in and get a laugh for the rest days. That's just about really hit, Paul, isn't it? Aye, nothing else important, isn't it? Thanks very much again, right? Good night, lads. Hail, hail, God bless. Keep the faith.